Good morning. Breaking news as the Prime Minister prepares to welcome Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to Downing Street this morning.
It comes just one day before US President Donald Trump is set to make history by meeting Russian leader Vladimir Putin on American soil.
As Trump talks tough, warning Russia of severe consequences if a peace deal isn't brokered.
If the first one goes okay, we'll have a quick second one. I would like to do it almost immediately. And we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself if they'd like to have me there.
The small boats crisis takes a grim turn as a record 106 illegal migrants are crammed into a single mega dinghy. So, are politicians like Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick and the Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp right to confront the crisis head-on in Calais?
GDP figures for April, May and June will be released in an hour, but is it going to spell trouble for the Chancellor's autumn budget?
It's a nerve-wracking final wait for thousands of students and their families across England, Wales and Northern Ireland today as A-level results are set to be released at 8 a.m. The Education Secretary will be on breakfast just before 9 o'clock this morning.
And could potholes be getting worse because of the recent heat waves? Well, apparently so. We'll find out just how broken Britain's roads are.
Good morning. They were in touching distance of a second trophy in a matter of months, but Tottenham surrendered a 2-goal lead late on against PSG before losing the penalty shootout with their post-match reaction to the UEFA Super Cup final throughout the morning.
Hello there, good morning. It'll either be a day of thundery showers or continued warm sunshine. To find out which one will affect you, stay tuned and I'll have all the details.
Just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast.
Got really shocking news to start with this morning. Puddings.
People aren't eating pudding anymore.
According to English Heritage, like proper puddings, like a steam pudding.
Yeah,
Ooh.
the best kind.
With custard.
Or ice cream.
Ooh.
Yes,
Rice pudding.
Rice pudding.
That's rogue.
Bit of cream.
No, that's really rogue.
Oh, no, I like a rice pudding.
No.
Yeah, rice pudding with a bit of cream and maybe a bit of jam.
Oh, not jam.
There's
no.
nothing good about rice pudding, Aidan. Not one.
Disagree?
Thing.
Yeah, I disagree.
A good sponge pudding, very good. But apparently only 2% of British households are eating a daily homemade pudding. And that is down from 26% in the 70s. Did your mums used to make you pudding?
Yeah.
Really?
Bread and butter pudding, do you remember?
Yeah, bread
That's
and
a good
butter
one.
pudding.
Now you're talking.
There's a lot of, like, treacle steamed pudding.
Yeah.
And all that sort of rhubarb crumble.
Oh, yeah. Apple crumble.
Or apple crumble.
I made apple crumble at school, home economics. Yeah. But the problem is the fire alarm went off halfway through, so I had to queue outside in my apron.
But no, this is what we always used to do. But now...
Do you know what? That is so true, actually. My granny would always have an apple pie or an apple crumble on the go. There's always something.
Yeah.
And households wouldn't do that now, would they? I'd bake a cake for a special occasion.
I just think you're probably adding 400 calories to your dinner. People just don't want to do it.
At least.
Yeah, at least.
Do you think it's a health thing?
I think so.
I think it's a time thing.
Possibly.
Might be a time thing. Plus, it's easier just to get a pot of something out the fridge, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I've always got something.
But ice cream. Ice cream is the winner, isn't it?
Yeah, can't go wrong with a scoop of ice cream. What's your favourite pudding?
Yeah. Oh, are you asking me or them?
You.
Oh.
Also you.
A steamed pudding. Steamed pudding.
An esteemed pudding?
They take forever. Esteemed, no. Steamed. My mother does a great steamed pudding. I don't know how to make one.
I love a sticky tough pudding. And I feel like they're everywhere.
I've got about 6 or 7 I really like. I'm going to go for treacle sponge.
Treacle sponge. Right, there you go. Let us know what you think. What's your favourite? Do you still make it, more importantly? Or is it just for very special occasions? It's a shame if it's a bit of our English heritage, British heritage that we're losing.
Yeah, because we've got the best puddings, haven't we? And we need to keep making them, because the next generation need to know how to make them.
I don't think some cultures don't have them.
What, nice puddings?
No, you go to restaurants and stuff, like Indian, Thai, don't really do puddings.
No, they don't. No.
Yeah, maybe they're more health conscious. Anyway, let's know what you think. gbnews.com/you'll say.
All right, let's start with a bit of breaking news this morning. And the Prime Minister will welcome Ukraine's President Zelensky to Downing Street later this morning.
Well, the meeting follows a virtual call in which European leaders urged Donald Trump not to strike a one-sided peace deal with Vladimir Putin during their meeting in Alaska tomorrow.
Sir Keir Starmer has also warned that any deal must protect Ukraine's independence.
Well, here's what President Trump told reporters ahead of that meeting.
if the first one goes okay, we'll have a quick second one. I would like to do it almost immediately, and we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself, if they'd like to have me there. And that would be a meeting where maybe it could be absolutely work. But the first meeting will not work that out. Certain great things can be gained in the first. It's going to be a very important meeting. But it's setting the table for the second meeting. I think the second meeting, if the second meeting takes place, now there may be no second meeting, because if I feel that it's not appropriate to have it because I didn't get the answers that we have to have, then we're not going to have a second meeting.
All right, let's get more with political commentator Charlie Rowley, who's here. Morning, Charlie.
Good morning.
It has to be said, I mean, all the language here is very positive.
It is, and all eyes will be on that summit on Friday between President Trump and President Putin, in the hope that after almost, 3.5 years, more so, that this conflict will come to an end. Now, how that comes about, who has to cease land, that is what is leading the headlines. President Zelensky has been very clear that he doesn't want to give up any territory, he doesn't want to cede territory to what was a hostile, illegal war, an invasion by Russia. So how do they compromise in a way in which brings that fighting to an end, where there have been thousands of troops on both sides, it has to be said, who have lost their lives, on top of all of the civilian casualties. One can only hope that this meeting, where there hasn't been a meeting before between Zelensky and Putin, President Trump has tried to suggest there in that clip that you just showed that they could have a quick meeting, or they'd have a meeting after the meeting between President Trump and President Vladimir Putin, including Trump, if they want him there, for good measure. But Zelensky and Putin haven't met. So, you know, have we seen a lot going on in the background where they are at a point where they can just meet and agree something quickly? So have there been agreements on both sides and we're just building up to this Friday summit? Or could we see President Trump pushing Zelensky too far, suggesting that he's got to give up land, maybe, or Ukraine have got to cede territory, when the coalition of the willing, that's the European countries set up by Sir Keir Starmer in joint cahoots with the French President Macron, where they've been firmly and squarely behind President Zelensky. If he doesn't want to give up territory, then it might be that there's no deal at all. We'll just have to wait and see.
I mean, the Europeans yesterday on that call seemed cautiously optimistic when President Trump was talking about the deal tomorrow. That meeting between himself and Putin is going to be about a ceasefire, not about a land swap, because we had been hearing that a little bit earlier on in the week. Obviously, the fear is that something would be agreed between the pair of them that then Zelensky couldn't possibly agree to.
I think that's absolutely right, and that is the worry, because a lot of people, a lot of commentators and a lot of countries, rightly so, have said that you can't agree a way forward for Ukraine without having Ukraine in the room, and that seems perfectly reasonable to me. But you would hope that there is one man who has put his whole political career and his credentials on the line as being a deal maker. This is Donald Trump. I think he's quite clear and quite keen to see a resolution on Friday after his intervention.
What do we make of this meeting in Downing Street today? Why do we think that is happening? I mean, is it trying to send a message that Zelensky, well, he might not be involved in the meeting tomorrow directly, but, you know, he is a figure who is being listened to by world leaders?
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think, look, you know, we've had, it seems to me, parallel proposals running side by side. So you've had President Trump, who sort of said on his first days of coming into office that he would have ended the war in Ukraine on day one. Now, it's obviously taken a bit longer than that. So there's been the President Trump's review of it all. There's been his process and the progress that's been made. But then there's also been the European way of trying to deal with it. So that is through the coalition of the willing. And you'll remember that after, obviously, the big bust-up between Zelensky and President Trump in the Oval Office, it was the European allies that rallied around Zelensky. He met the king, of course, Zelensky, and he was sort of surrounded by European allies to say, don't worry, we're on your side, and we'll help you get through it. So there have been two different kind of strategies of how to get to this point. But ultimately, it's President Trump that seems to have got the breakthrough with getting Vladimir Putin to the table. He sent his own envoy, Steve Witkoff, to try and do those negotiations in Russia. But President Trump has been very clear. Look, if there is no ceasefire, if there is no resolution at the end of Friday, then Russia will suffer very severe sanctions, I should imagine, as part of the way in which to get them back around the table and to, as a punishment for not being as open as maybe President Putin has suggested that he is to ending this horrible conflict.
OK. Charlie, thank you very much. See you in the next hour.
In the meantime, let's get the take of foreign policy analyst Tom Close-Pritchard, who joins us now. Good morning to you, Tom.
Good morning.
What do you make of the language, the tone ahead of the meeting tomorrow now? It does seem to have changed somewhat.
Yes, well, I mean, it's a very sort of optimistic tone, I think, from the Trump White House. I mean, my advice to the president, if he wants to take it, would be that Ukraine is gaining the upper hand. They've been extremely successful militarily. Operation Spider's Web, hitting military targets inside Russia, was a massive success. And there's an awful lot of scope for economic recovery and economic success after the war, and that Russia is, frankly, an economic basket case. So Mr. Trump needs to bear this in mind when he sits down with the Russian president.
We're also hearing reports this morning that Trump is set to offer Putin rare minerals or access to rare earth minerals as an incentive to try and end the war in Ukraine. And that will make a lot of people very uncomfortable, especially the Europeans, because it looks as though the aggressor is being rewarded here.
Yes, that's completely right. It's extremely worrying when, if there is a situation whereby Russia is being rewarded for its aggression, whether it be through minerals, whether it be through Ukraine being urged to cede land, and they're being urged to cede the Donbass, for example. This would be a huge, huge error. In my view, it has strategic value, but when it comes to the minerals and so forth, this would be considered a win for Russia, and that's just not right given circumstances.
It's the balance of power here slightly different in terms of, I mean, I wonder how pushed Trump is by the fact that Europe as a bloc is behind Ukraine and certainly doesn't want Ukraine to be carved up without any consent. It's certainly backing Zelensky, as we're seeing by the meeting at Downing Street this morning. I mean, what sort of dynamic does that place on the meeting tomorrow?
I don't think this comes as a huge shock to the White House that Europe is fully behind Ukraine. It's obviously the conflict is taking place in Europe. It's on Europe's doorstep. So it's no surprise that Britain, along with our European partners, will be backing Ukraine to the hilt. I think the interesting dynamic will be that Mr. Zelensky will be meeting Sir Keir Starmer today ahead of the meeting, and the sort of message that it will send is we're with Ukraine, and but there has been language that's come out of the White House that's been very sceptical of Ukraine, and the message is that Europe is standing by Ukraine, and that this kind of narrative of being sceptical isn't very helpful.
OK, Tom Close-Pritchard, good to see you this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, at 14 minutes past 6, the Manchester Arena bomb plotter Hashim Abedi has been charged with 3 counts of attempted murder after 4 prison officers were injured at HMP Frankland in April. Abedi has also been charged with 1 count of assault and 1 count of unauthorised possession of a knife or offensive weapon. He's due to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court next month.
The US Vice President has landed in Scotland alongside his family for the second leg of his holiday. Yesterday, JD Vance met with American troops stationed at RAF Fairford in Gloucestershire. Vance delivered a speech stressing the importance of the special relationship.
That's one of the great things about the UK's special relationship with the United States is it cuts across political alliances, it cuts across political parties.
And the Princess of Wales has released a special summer message.
Our lives flourish when we cherish the bonds of love and friendship. So open your hearts. Sing, dance, play.
Well, the Princess says it's never been more important to appreciate the value of one another as she launches her latest Mother Nature video on social media. She previously credited the great outdoors for helping her with her own cancer recovery. I think that's quite nice, actually.
Oh, yeah, she's just lovely, isn't she?
You get that impression, don't you?
She just likes being outdoors in nature.
Yeah, and just sort of, I mean, it's a very positive message. It's a very simple message in a way, isn't it? You know, try and be nice to one another and all the rest of it. And it pays dividends. I just really like it. I think it's very nice.
We really like her, don't we?
We do. We should get her to do one of our daily reflections.
We should get her to come in as well.
That'd be very, very nice.
I thought you were going to say. I was like, yeah, any time. If you're watching or listening this morning, you're welcome any time.
I don't know that she would. But anyway, in the meantime, here is our actual daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, my name is Johnny Dade and I'm a vicar in the Church of England. I once had the humbling experience of visiting Robben Island in South Africa, the infamous location of Nelson Mandela's incarceration during the decades of apartheid rule. Upon Mandela's release and subsequent inauguration as president, many commented on his striking lack of bitterness towards those who had so unjustly treated him and his people. In his autobiography, Mandela reflected on how the decades in prison, though grueling, actually formed and shaped his character in ways that would bear much fruit. Now, Jesus uses an analogy of a vine and a gardener. A gardener concerned with good fruit will prune the branches of the vine, cleaning them, lifting them, and even cutting some off, so that the vine will grow, be healthy, and yield the best grapes. St. Paul wrote, "Suffering produces perseverance, perseverance character, and character hope." Now, this is not to be glib about hardship, not at all, but it is to have hope and to trust in a good God, our Father, the gardener, who desires that we bear good fruit.
Now let's get a check on the weather with Anna.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Any early showers across the southeast, soon easing away, but some thundery downpours expected across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. But for all, it is set to be another warm day ahead. Now, a Met Office yellow thunderstorm warning has been issued across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. We could see some quite heavy downpours here, some thundery downpours with some frequent lightning and also some hail. So do keep an eye out on the forecast for here. But elsewhere, we'll start to see some cloudier skies across Wales, central parts of England, the best of the sunshine across the southeast, where we'll reach highs of around 29 degrees Celsius. Into the evening, some of these heavy thundery showers could persist for a while, particularly across the far northeast of Scotland as they move their way into the Northern Isles, starting to turn quite cloudy too, particularly around coastal areas. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, still a chance we could see some thundery showers here. They won't really ease away until through the course of the night. But elsewhere across England and Wales, it should be a mostly dry and pleasant end to the day, particularly across the south where we'll see mostly clear skies. It is set to be another quite mild and muggy night, though, particularly once again across southern areas. Many towns and cities not really dropping much past the mid to high teens. And something else we'll notice as we head further into the morning is that we're starting to drag in some low cloud across the north, starting to move into parts of Scotland, northern parts of England. A chance we could see some mist and fog across central areas. So it may be a little bit of a murky start and mild start to the day too. Then into Friday to finish off the week. Once again, some low cloud, eventually lifting and breaking, but it may linger for a time, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, northeastern parts of England, where it may just be thick enough to produce some showers. But in the west, central areas of England and parts of the southeast, plenty of sunshine and temperatures up by a degree or two once again, highs reaching around 31, but much cooler under cloudier skies.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here, and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me next Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast.
6:24, time for the sport with Aidan. Good morning.
Good morning to you both.
Should we have a look at this Spurs-PSG match last night?
Yes, the UEFA Super Cup final held in a place called Udine in Italy in front of only 25,000 people because that's all the stadium held. I just think it's pointless holding it in small stadiums like that. Look at the interest it generates. It deserves to be in a 60 to 80,000 stadium, but that's another point altogether. Tottenham were up against Paris Saint-Germain. This means that it's the European level, Ellie, of the Community Shield. So in the Community Shield, domestically, the FA Cup winners play the Premier League winners. At European level, the Europa League winners, Tottenham, played against the Champions League winners, PSG. Tottenham were expected to lose.
Yeah, I don't think it was looking good, to be fair.
No, it wasn't looking good, but that's because PSG were one of the outstanding... Well, they were the outstanding side in the world, really, last season. I mean, they lost the Club World Cup final to Chelsea, of course, but Spurs went into the match with... You know, we were interested to see how Thomas Frank's new side would look. Ange was dispensed with a few months ago. Thomas Frank's in the hot seat, having arrived from Brentford, and they acquitted themselves very well, Stephen, after up to about 75 minutes. One thing I would say is that PSG have been on the beach for the last few weeks. It's the only break they got. They've been going at it for the last 11, well, prior to that, 11 months solid just before that, and they were just fatigue-wise, they're up against it. But last night they got it together late on. Tottenham were disappointed. They'll be disappointed with the last 15 minutes. They were 2-0 up Tottenham. They conceded 2 late goals. It went to penalties. It wasn't to be. They lost 4-3, and we can hear from the Tottenham manager, the newly installed Tottenham manager, Thomas Frank, right now.
Very, very proud of the players, the team, the club, the fans. I think the players gave everything. Playing against one of the best teams in the world, maybe the best at the moment, and I think we 75, 80 minutes, perfect, almost giving nothing away against. They put 4 players with unbelievable individual quality on the pitch, so. Very, very proud of them, yeah.
I think they did well.
Yeah, they did. Overall, there'd be positives to take from it. I mean, look, they won the trophy a couple of months ago in the Europa League, so they kind of got that off their back. And it was a free hit last night as well. I mean, nobody expected them to beat PSG. The fact that they went so close to doing it last night, within 5 minutes or so, will just leave a tinge of disappointment in their mouth for last night. And they played Burnley on Saturday. I think Spurs are going to have a good season.
Good. Hope so. What about Manchester United?
Well, Marcus Rashford he left Man United 6 months ago on loan to Barcelona, to Aston Villa initially, then Barcelona. He's been giving an interview on a podcast and just reflecting on his time at Old Trafford, having had 6 months to kind of sit back and survey the wreckage of United over the time that he's been there, really. And he said that the club is in no man's land. He said that every time they make a transition, they try to change things. He said there's no point in having a new plan if you don't stick to it. Now, a lot of people will be saying, including a lot of our viewers who support Manchester United, will be saying, well, actually, wasn't Marcus Rashford part of the problem? Wasn't he the one that went out celebrating or went out on nights out to Belfast and didn't report back for training? Wasn't he the one who showed a lack of professionalism at times, Ellie? And wasn't he the one who just lost form completely after the World Cup? Or just, 6 months after the World Cup? And, look, we all know United's problems, but he said that when Sir Alex Ferguson was there was a DNA, there was an identity within the club that went right the way through the system, all the way through academy level, which just doesn't exist anymore. And he pointed to the time that Jurgen Klopp spent at Liverpool. He had a real tough first few years. There were signs of progress, but they could have dispensed with him if they really needed to, but they decided to stick with him. They got the rewards. And that's what they did, United, back in the 80s with Sir Alex Ferguson. They needed to do that now. They needed to give somebody time to do it. I would argue that there are plenty of managers there over the last few years who got 2.5, 3 years to do something and just didn't show enough. And he said that if all you're going to have is match winners in a team, yes, you're going to win a cup now and again, but you're never going to achieve the consistency that you need to win the Premier League. And don't forget, this was a club who won 13 Premier League titles in 26 years under Sir Alex Ferguson.
Wow. Yeah. And finally, no plans for Premier League matches abroad?
Overseas, yeah, exactly. So, look, a lot of fans in this country are worried that the Premier League will follow the same lead as La Liga in Spain and Serie A in Italy, in that they will look to have a league match where points are available. So an important game, not just a friendly, overseas during the season. The fans really don't want this. Now, they had their fingers...
Why would you do it?
Because, it's just money. It's money, isn't it? So
all comes down to money.
Of course it does, yeah. Look, La Liga have decided that they've asked FIFA and UEFA for permission for a Barcelona match to happen in Miami in November. If it goes ahead, it sets a dangerous precedent because AC Milan want to do it in Perth in Australia. That's where they decided they have a lot of fans and they want to go down there and see those. So this isn't a friendly, this isn't a summer tour or anything like that. This is a real match. This is the real stuff, the real McCoy. And I don't think fans want this. I mean, apart from anything else, you're going to really want to trudge down to Perth in Western Australia for a league match. in November. Some fans would find it all right, but it sets a precedent because you then see more and more. Do you remember back you'd have covered it in your previous job, 2008, the Premier League were going to have a 39th game. It caused a massive furore over a number of years. It didn't happen. It was shelved almost as soon as the Premier League put the feelers out. But the Premier League had made an announcement yesterday saying there are no plans to do the same thing. And again, there are no plans to reprise that or follow what Italy and Spain want to do. And long may that continue, because I think they learned 4 years ago when the Super League breakaway happened, the fans were absolutely furious. I was in there covering it, and out on the streets, it was old school protest, and that's what stopped it. But I still think that if the experiment goes well for those two countries, the Premier League might not be far behind. Worryingly.
We shall see. All right, Aidan, thanks very much indeed. We'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Thanks, Aidan. Now it's time for the Great British Giveaway and your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for a whole year, plus have an extra £5,000 in your bank account to play with. And if you don't have a monthly mortgage or rent payment, what happens, Stephen?
Well, then we will give you £15,000 in cold, hard cash, tax-free instead. Here are the details.
We want to send some of those monthly financial stresses packing this August with your chance to be mortgage or rent-free for 12 whole months. We'll give you a cash lump sum that equals 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to an amazing £20,000. We'll also throw in an extra £5,000 on top of that for good measure, because why not? And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you. We'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. What are you waiting for? Lines will close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, if you're travelling to work this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A77 is closed northbound between Belfield and Michaelwood due to overnight roadworks. Motorists should follow signed diversions and allow extra time. On the M4 westbound from junction 45, Ennis-Forgan, to junction 46, Langouvelak, closures are in effect for structural inspections with diversions. In Leicestershire, a collision on the M1 northbound between junction 21 and 22 has closed 3 out of 4 lanes. Expect delays. And on the trains, Northern buses replace trains between Sellafield and Whitehaven. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Still to come, we're going to see what's in the papers with Freddie Gray and Charlotte Griffiths. Oh, look how interested they look. Isn't that fabulous? We'll join them in a couple of minutes.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Right, time for the papers this morning with Deputy Editor of The Spectator, Freddie Gray, and Editor-at-Large for the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths. Good morning to you both. Can we have a look at the eye to begin with, Charlotte? And Trump preempting what is going to be happening tomorrow.
Yeah, well, Zelensky is urging Trump to be aware that Putin might be bluffing and saying basically to Trump, look, he doesn't want peace, so just watch out. Don't offer him too much. Don't promise too many things. You know, all the minerals in the world aren't going to get you anywhere if he doesn't want peace. So that's the front page of the Eye today.
Yeah. Freddie, what do you make of it?
I think it's yesterday, from as far as America is concerned, yesterday was very much reassure Europe that they are still relevant and part of this process. And the coalition, the willing, the sort of European pro-Ukraine alliance are still an important part of negotiations because the Europeans are very worried that Putin and Trump are going to meet in Alaska tomorrow and just kind of carve up Europe between them, carve up Eastern Europe between them, and the rest of the world, perhaps. And because they both see themselves, Putin and Trump see themselves as almost like 19th century figures. They're going to meet in Alaska, they're going to decide the future of the world together. And the Europeans are very worried about this because they feel Europe's not part of this conversation. So what the Trump administration was doing yesterday is saying, I'm not going to give Putin, you know, an easy ride. There has to be a ceasefire. He even apparently on the phone, told European leaders that there wouldn't be any territorial concessions.
Well, that's a very big step.
Which is a very big step. But there's no... I mean, whether Trump actually said that is a moot point. That's what European leaders have said that he said. J.D. Vance also spoke, who's in the Cotswolds, as everybody now knows. He spoke to Zelensky yesterday. I think there was very much an attempt to reassure Zelensky, reassure Europe, that they weren't going to turn on them. But that's because the Europeans are so worried about it.
Do you think it worked? Obviously, yesterday their aim was to put the Ukrainian stance forward, to talk about the coalition of the willing, to warn President Trump not to trust Putin. Do you think it worked?
Well, I think it did, in that Trump then came out and said, oh, by the way, you know, we might meet with Zelensky tomorrow, as soon as tomorrow. Then he backtracked on that within a few minutes as well and said, but, you know, if it doesn't go well, we won't meet with Zelensky. I think it's a very confusing picture, and until we get through Friday, it's just going to keep flip-flopping. There's just so much coming out so rapidly at the moment.
And what Trump likes is the fact that everybody wants to know how it's going to go down on Friday. He knows it's going to be a spectacular moment in global politics, and that's what he wants.
Yeah. Can we talk about these wildfires, which are affecting some parts of Greece?
Yes, so Kefalonia and Zakynthos are being ravaged by these fires. There's an amazing picture of a farmer escaping with his sheep on his shoulder on a moped.
Oh, yes.
It's really sweet, it's really touching, actually. But also so worrying for the people that live there and work there, and also for holidaymakers who are scrambling to escape their dream holiday they possibly saved up for all year. And they find that, these fires are absolutely devastating.
Because this is a really popular area with British tourists, isn't it?
It is. Zakynthos particularly. I went there last year, actually, last summer. There were no wildfires then. But it is, I think the debate that always happens is about global warming. To what extent is this down to global warming? I mean, it is certainly true that there has been a massive increase in wildfires in Europe and Greece in recent years. But, it's not true to say that wildfires did not happen intimately and before. I mean, ancient Greece, Thucydides wrote about wildfires. So it's, I think that's going to be the sort of talking point. But for now, it's just, poor holidaymakers having to abandon their holidays and poor Greek people having to abandon their lives.
And young British people. So in Zante, there's a party resort called Loganus, apparently. And young British people are being asked to leave hotels after the fires. There's black smoke over that area.
That doesn't surprise me in Zante because they pack them in there. It's one of those resorts, a bit like Benidorm, where it's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of young people, very young. I went for my GCSE kind of post-holiday party back when I was 17. And they're all in these kind of tower blocks. So, if it hits Zante, they'll have to evacuate pretty fast.
Gosh.
All right, you two, thank you very much indeed. We're going to be back with you in just a moment. First, though, if you want some holiday sun, let's have a look at the European forecast.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The summer heat wave continues across much of Europe, particularly inland France, Spain and Portugal, where we're likely to see temperatures in the mid to low 40s. And with these high temperatures, we are set to see plenty of sunshine, but slightly different story as we move our way eastwards across the Mediterranean. At times, this heat is likely to produce some quite heavy, if not thundery showers across parts of Italy. And that is set to continue over the weekend, and the hot temperatures are here to stay.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
ChatGPT.
What's that?
If you don't know what it is, it's artificial intelligence, and it helps you write things and research things, and you can even talk to them like they're your friend, can't you, Tom?
Shall we
you
do
know
some
about
of that
this,
now?
don't you?
I mean, we could talk to Chat now.
Go on, then. You love talking to Chat.
I was actually
Careful, though.
I was actually talking to Chat last night about Texas redistricting. It was very good fun. Wait, hang on, here we go.
Beats railway lines.
Hi, Chat. You're live on GB News. How are you feeling?
Oh, wow, live TV. That's exciting. I'm feeling great. Thanks for having me on. How's everything going on your end?
It's going great. We're just doing a segment about artificial intelligence. Do you have anything to say about that?
Absolutely. AI is such a fascinating topic, and it's amazing to see how it's evolving and becoming part of our everyday lives. There's so much potential for it to help us in all kinds of fields, including journalism.
ChatGPT, to which we were just talking, is undergoing a major change after concerns it was giving overly direct advice on sensitive personal matters, including whether users should break up with their partners. So you could write in there, oh, my partner never takes the rubbish out, he sometimes is a bit rude to me, blah, 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 and then they say, break up with him.
But here's the interesting thing. For people that have been taking relationship advice from this robot, well, OpenAI, the company behind it, says the chatbot will stop giving such clear-cut answers to questions about personal relationships. So that's a new change from OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT.
Yeah. I've just asked, does Emily Carver like Tom Harwood?
And
I've asked the chatbot
what does Chat say?
There's no evidence Emily Carver likes Tom Harwood.
GB News News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me next Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast.
Time for the papers then, or continuing the papers at 6:44 with Freddie Gray and Charlotte Griffiths. Charlotte, can we have a look at the Daily Mail and this super-sized dinghy that they've been using to cross the Channel?
Yeah, Daily Mail, page 7, they've got a picture of this extra long dinghy and it fits 107 people on. And if you remember when the small boat crossing started, boats they really were dinghies. They looked almost like children's toys and they fit about 5 or 6 people on. And they've got more and more sophisticated. And I didn't realise this, but they're very much properly manufactured in Turkey and China, and they kind of make their way through the black market over to Europe. And it's really hard to cut off the supply lines. Once you cut off one line, another one pops up.
It's funny that, isn't it?
Funny that. I can't believe...
I thought it'd be easy to smash the gangs.
I know, or even just smash the boats, you know. They are big rubber dinghies. And I just can't believe between Turkey and Europe, they can't be stopped. But anyway, they're being manufactured in more and more sophisticated factories, and they fit so many people on them. And then there's this kind of narrative emerging now about how... So say you had a boat, this one has 107 people on it, they'd put maybe 105 men and 2 women, or 1 woman and 1 child, because the French are very reluctant to slash them. They, famously, the French border force once slashed a boat, and then the next day wouldn't slash another boat because they said there's a woman and child on the boat and won't slash a boat with a woman and child on. Fair enough. But, of course, the gangs then now strategically put 1 solitary woman
It's
on.
your token woman or child.
Yeah, and you were saying earlier that then, of course, if the boat gets into trouble, guess who's the first person to get kicked off that boat?
It's a woman or a child.
Apparently
And
it's a woman.
That's what's so upsetting. I mean, even this week there was a woman who died just off the coast of Dunkirk because it was in a packed dinghy like this, and she was reportedly pushed off.
Yeah.
Because they are generally smaller and weaker, aren't they?
Yeah.
And it becomes survival of the fittest, I suppose, in those situations, and it's women and children who are at risk.
I mean, I can't believe more people aren't coming off, because if you look at the images of them, even on this mega dinghy, a lot of them with their legs hanging out over the side, and even on a calm day, crossing the Channel is quite a significant body of water. You've got to get over some quite choppy bits. I'm surprised they do it.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Right, to the Telegraph, Freddie.
Oh, yes.
We need to be... The Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, says we need to be able to down tools if it gets too hot.
Maximum temperature. There should be a maximum temperature, and if it goes above it, you should be able to say, as a worker, I'm not working anymore, it's too hot.
Right.
Right.
But Angela Rayner's not saying this now. She said it in there was a heatwave in 2022, and she said it then, and the Telegraph are bringing it up again. And Labour have not said that that's not their policy. So it's one of these stories where we believe this is what Angela Rayner thinks, because she said it 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
So we needed to deny
She hasn't denounced it. Yeah. So are Labour going to impose maximum heat? It doesn't seem imminent on the government's agenda.
But the Telegraph have cleverly totted up 16 times that we've gone over that threshold this year alone. So, can we all afford for everyone to take 16 days off every summer, possibly more with global warming?
Lovely. Well, smashing. Well, it's hot today, isn't it?
I think we're increasingly becoming European. I think COVID has made us very European in our attitude to the summer now. All of my friends seem to be taking the whole summer off.
How are they managing that?
I don't know. They're not rich. They're not in particularly luxurious positions in life. But they just seem to just take a few weeks.
Well, is this the work from home or work from holiday mode?
I think so. I think everybody in COVID figured out that they could make quite comfortable lives for themselves. And they did.
Wow.
Sadly, I never cracked it.
No.
People do take days off already for the heat, by the way, before Angela Rayner. Yes, because at my daughter's school, I mean, before the summer holiday started, they close every 5 minutes. If it's like vaguely hot, they go, oh, it's too hot, we're closing down the school.
Are they allowed to do that?
Quite annoying if you're a parent of 3 children, you've got a full-time job.
Yeah.
Got to find childcare then.
But of course, then you feel very churlish if you say, oh no, boil them inside the school, you know, I don't care, I've got to go to the office. So you end up sort of having to call up and pull out of work yourself because your kids can't go to school.
If we're going to have hotter summers, though, and we're going to keep seeing these increased temperatures, we just need aircon in buildings. And aircon on public transport is what we need. That's what makes it so awful, just trying to move around.
Invest in air conditioning in the UK.
Which is not very net zero friendly, is it?
No, not at the minute.
They'll build the solar panels to pay for the,
Well,
the aircon.
Oh, it's never ending.
On and on it goes.
It's never ending.
Freddie, it's A-level results day today, isn't it? Lots of people heading off to university.
Yes.
Tell us about this rescue plan if universities collapse, because there's a concern that a number of them are at risk of collapse.
Well, this is an interesting story. The Office for Students are having to come up with sort of contingency measures for universities going bankrupt because so many universities are in terrible, crippling debt now. The sort of financial model for a lot of universities, apart from the most successful and prestigious ones, doesn't work. And so there's a lot of fears that students will start university paying their fees to go to university and find halfway through their course the university's gone bankrupt and they effectively don't have a degree. So the Office for Students is trying to come up with ways in which they can relocate students onto other courses if this happens. But it's quite striking. It shows that higher education, actually, the financialisation of higher education in this country is not working at the moment.
No. Charlotte?
Isn't it depressing that students are going to come away with all this debt and the universities have all this debt?
Yeah.
It's so dysfunctional, isn't it? Is this a problem with too many mad courses? I remember the example when I was at university is Leeds Met, I think. I might have got that wrong, but Leeds Met had a Diana Studies course in Princess Diana Studies. I mean, there are some bonkers. Maybe we do need to be more vocational and more practical and come away with some real skills rather than.
I don't know whether it's that or whether it's the foreign students.
Well, there's a reliance on them,
because there is such a reliance. I mean, I've been to graduation ceremonies where 99% of the graduates were Chinese.
They just pay so much more money.
They just pay so much. So it's like, if we're going to cut down on those for obvious reasons, and fair enough, then perhaps we do need... Some universities just aren't going to be viable. And so they need to go.
One of the government processes is to increase further increase the fees for foreign students. So to squeeze more out of the foreign students in order to help cover the costs.
Well, we're going to get fewer students.
Yeah.
Already we're seeing fewer students. Do you think there is a possibility that we could see university fees increase for domestic students as well?
I think it's... I mean, unless something else some other way of funding it is found, it seems almost inevitable. And it's not like the government is filling in money.
Don't we need to reduce the number of... I mean, I know this sounds a bit... But reduce the number of universities, actually cut them back, have more focus on more spending on vocational things like apprenticeships.
Maybe it does need to be a more concentrated system. You know, does there need to be 3 or 4 universities for every town, each one getting progressively less important and prestigious as you go down the line? Maybe there just need to be some really high-end institutions for the intellectual studies and then maybe the more vocational studies for those who want... And increasingly, teenagers that I know, nephews and nieces, they do actually want a vocational degree because they're worried about AI in the future and they're worried that an art history degree is not going to get them anywhere. So they actually want to be more vocational.
And you can make huge money as well, can't you, if you're a skilled labourer?
Yeah,
if you're an electrician or a plumber, you're making a fortune.
Well, the thing that AI is really going to disrupt is the university because increasingly learning, as we know it, can be replaced by AI. AI can do learning for you.
Yeah, that's depressing.
Charlotte, I don't know how to put this to you. This is in the Telegraph this morning. Officials are insisting there is nobody trapped in the Chicago bean. What on earth is that?
I know, when I read this morning at 6 a.m, I did think I was still asleep, possibly.
What's the Chicago bean?
The Chicago... I'm not very cultured, because I'd never heard of the Chicago bean.
It's a funky-looking silver sculpture,
like Amish Kapoor, that was built in the year 2000.
Oh, there it is.
And
you see it on screen.
It's quite stylish, isn't it? And
looks like an earbud.
Looks like a kidney bean, but large
like an
and silver.
Built before earbuds were invented. But people have decided that when the light hits that bean in just the right way, they can see a human being inside it. And there's now an Instagram account with 35,000 followers. It's actually called the Cloudgate. It's not really called the Bean. And they think, and the Instagram account has got people convinced that there's a man living inside the Bean. He's been trapped, and it's a conspiracy, of course, because Instagram and the internet is where. So there they are protesting, saying, "Let the man out of the Bean." But is it a hoax? Some people think it's a hoax. Some people think it isn't.
Well, well, how would he be getting fed and watered and toileted?
I mean, goodness knows. I think the conspiracy theorists think it's some sort of cruel, horrible, he's a prisoner and he's having this horrible lifestyle trapped inside.
Or it's David Blaine, the magician.
Oh, it could be.
It reminds me of that,
Yeah.
Well, in which case, all the protesters would leave.
Yeah.
It's a real sign of where the internet has taken us. It's just what do you believe, what and how Instagram can take people off on these mad tangents in life.
Well, it's the fact that people believe it is slightly concerning.
Yeah.
Any old conspiracy theory, people will jump on the bandwagon.
That's the thing about the internet, though. People get all in a muddle, don't they? Yeah. And now they're all standing outside, convinced they can, in real life, see him standing inside the Bean.
And it just snowballs, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really
Charlotte,
does.
Freddie, thank you very much indeed. Let us know what you think on any of those stories. gbnews.com/say.
Not the Bean.
Not the Bean.
All right, here's the weather with Honor.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Any early showers across the southeast, soon easing away, but some thundery downpours expected across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. But for all, it is set to be another warm day ahead. Now, a Met Office yellow thunderstorm warning has been issued across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. We could see some quite heavy downpours here, some thundery downpours with some frequent lightning and also some hail. So do keep an eye out on the forecast for here. But elsewhere, we'll start to see some cloudier skies across Wales, central parts of England, the best of the sunshine across the southeast, where we'll reach highs of around 29 degrees Celsius. Into the evening, some of these heavy thundery showers could persist for a while, particularly across the far northeast of Scotland as they move their way into the Northern Isles, starting to turn quite cloudy too, particularly around coastal areas. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, still a chance we could see some thundery showers here. They won't really ease away until through the course of the night. But elsewhere across England and Wales, it should be a mostly dry and pleasant end to the day, particularly across the south, where we'll see mostly clear skies. It is set to be another quite mild and muggy night, though, particularly once again across southern areas. Many towns and cities not really dropping much past the mid to high teens. And something else we'll notice as we head further into the morning is that we're starting to drag in some low cloud across the north, starting to move into parts of Scotland, northern parts of England. A chance we could see some mist and fog across central areas. So it may be a little bit of a murky start and mild start to the day too. Then into Friday to finish off the week. Once again, some low cloud, eventually lifting and breaking, but it may linger for a time, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, northeastern parts of England, where it may just be thick enough to produce some showers. But in the west, central areas of England and parts of the southeast, plenty of sunshine and temperatures up by a degree or two once again, highs reaching around 31, but much cooler under cloudier skies.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Temporary traffic lights are on the A9 at Thatcher due to emergency roadworks until 6 this morning. A road incident closed 3 out of 4 lanes on the M1 northbound between Junction 21 and Junction 22 in Leicestershire, causing delays. Normal conditions are expected shortly. The M20 westbound between Junction 9 and Junction 8 in Kent has a 30-minute delay due to a breakdown. Structural inspections closed the M4 westbound from Junction 45 Winnisforgan to Junction 46 Llangefferlac, with diversions set up. And on the trains, disruption at Wolverhampton affects services. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
We want to send some of those monthly financial stresses packing this August with your chance to be mortgage or rent-free for 12 whole months. We'll give you a cash lump sum that equals 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to an amazing £20,000. We'll also throw in an extra £5,000 on top of that for good measure. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
Good morning. The Prime Minister prepares to welcome Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to Downing Street this morning.
Just one day before US President Donald Trump is set to make history by meeting Russian leader Vladimir Putin on American soil.
Well, as Trump talks tough, warning Russia of severe consequences if the peace deal isn't brokered.
If the first one goes okay, we'll have a quick second one. I would like to do it almost immediately. And we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself if they'd like to have me there.
GDP figures for the months of April, May and June will be published any moment now. Will it spell trouble for the Chancellor's autumn budget?
It's a nerve-wracking final wait for thousands of students across England, Wales and Northern Ireland as A-level results will be released at 8 o'clock, and we'll talk to the Education Secretary just before 9.
Thousands of residents and tourists are forced to flee resorts as wildfires rage across southern Europe, killing at least 3 people.
The small boats crisis takes a bit of a grim turn as a record 106 illegal migrants are crammed onto a mega dinghy. So are politicians like Robert Jenrick and Chris Philp right to confront the crisis head-on in Calais.
Could potholes be getting worse thanks to recent heat waves? Well, apparently so. We'll be finding out just how broken Britain's roads truly are.
And as Britain melts in what is the 4th heat wave of the summer, the London Mayor Sadiq Khan considers offering workers flexible hours if they're too hot. We'll be debating if Britons are just too weak to take the heat.
They were in touching distance of a second trophy in just a matter of months, but Tottenham surrendered a 2-goal lead late on against PSG before losing the penalty shootout. We'll have post-match reaction to the UEFA Super Cup final later this hour.
Hello there, good morning. It'll either be a day of thundery showers or continued warm sunshine. To find out which one will affect you, stay tuned and I'll have all the details.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast.
All right, we're going to start with breaking news that's just come in, and it is about GDP, gross domestic product, so it's about how well the economy is doing. And according to the latest figures, and we're talking about a quarter, April to June, so the second quarter of 2025, GDP grew by 0.3%. So it's not much, but it's better than going the other way.
Yeah, and delving into it, services grew by 0.4%, construction up 1.2%, so both growing, but production fell by 0.3%. Charlie Rowley's with us in the studio. What's your reaction to these figures, Charlie?
First of all, it will be good news for the Treasury after a mounting of criticism that's been labelled at them for increasing taxes, where there's been a plethora of people leaving the country because taxes might be too high. All eyes are on the autumn statement. This will be a welcome reprieve by the Chancellor. It follows on the back of the interest rates falling last week. And as part of that good news, you'll see that construction is up. Now, obviously, one of the big pledges that the Labour government came into was build more homes. That's something that lots of people want to see. So to see construction up for that quarter, that'll be good news for the Treasury. Services, I imagine that's things like leisure and food and drink and all the rest of it. That is good news, although we're still hearing a pub close every week, something like that. So it's finely balanced, so 0.3%, not a huge amount, but it is something to hang on to.
But it's interesting, production has fallen 0.3%. Now, I suppose Labour have got a valid excuse, have they, to blame that on tariffs? Blame it on Trump?
They could, and there'll be uncertainty amongst certain markets. Of course, then it means if you're not producing goods, then you're not exporting them, so you might have to rely on more imports. It might be that actually if your production costs have gone up, then actually and your production output has fallen, that might mean that you have to lay people off in order to make ends meet. That might be an impact through the national insurance hike that was announced at the last budget. So yes, it's good news on one hand, concerning on the other, but overall growth in the economy will be something that the Chancellor, number 10, will be desperate to hang on to. And I've no doubt that you'll hear in the morning round this morning from Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson. She'll be absolutely delighted with this.
It's not a lot to gloat about, though. I mean, it's a very fine line. I mean, yeah, sighs of relief all round. Absolutely, we get that. But I mean, it's almost flat.
It's not going fast enough, some would argue.
Exactly, and it's all about, the government will say, and it is the case that it is about confidence. So even if, it's through services and construction, so that is an industry on its own, as it were. So if construction is the bulk of that 0.3%, then that is great or good for the construction industry. But if you're still dealing with all the other issues, such as tax increases, such as businesses not investing in their own companies, a lack of inward investment, because of the worry of further increase in taxes, we've got still people who are very wealthy leaving the country because they think they're being taxed too much, the tax burden is too high, then of course that is not going to lend itself to confidence and growth further. So we will, I think, have to say that we'll welcome these figures today. That's what the government will certainly be saying, and that's what business will say. But we've just got to wait until after the summer and see what the budget brings in the autumn.
Yeah. Well, talking of welcoming, the Prime Minister's welcoming Volodymyr Zelensky to Downing Street today, ahead of the Putin-Trump talks in Alaska tomorrow. It's quite an interesting move that he's in London, in Downing Street today. What do you think the Prime Minister is hoping to achieve from this meeting?
I think it's a show of solidarity to President Zelensky. President Zelensky was in Germany yesterday, in Berlin, talking to the German Chancellor there. And I think it is just on the cusp of, obviously, the meeting between President Trump of America, United States of America, and President Putin. Europe wants to make sure that it is supporting their side. Europe have obviously been very keen to support President Zelensky for obvious reason. Keir Starmer set up that coalition of the willing to make it absolutely clear that Europe stands fully and squarely behind President Zelensky and Ukraine. So it is a show of solidarity just ahead of that meeting, where there could be, we hope, for everybody's sake, a breakthrough, a deal that everybody can swallow. Everybody could find that palatable. But we'll have to wait and see. President Zelensky may, at the end of the talks, having had maybe the assurances from President Trump, he might feel that actually that it's not in the interests of Ukraine to give up any territory, if that is what is being discussed, or it is too much territory that might have already been taken, or parts of Ukraine that might be more Russian-speaking. And this is the whole point, or part of, a very small part, of why Russia invaded Ukraine in the first place. But if there's a deal to be done, let's wait and see. But I think Keir Starmer is just making sure that he is sending a message to the President of the United States that he is fully behind Ukraine, as is the rest of Europe, and let's make sure that they get a deal that they can agree to.
Do you think the tone has changed from President Trump this week? Because he was talking yesterday after that European phone call, that European meeting he held with European leaders and Zelensky and the like, saying that there would be serious consequences if Russia didn't agree to a ceasefire, because the aim of that meeting yesterday was to put the Ukrainian stance to President Trump. Do you think they were successful in doing that?
Well, we'll have to see at the end of the talks, I suppose. But you're right, it's been a shift of tone. I mean, this is a guy that's, the president who has made a career of, the art of the deal and being able to get deals. That's his shtick, that's his modus operandi, and that's what he would want to take credit for at the end of this whole saga. But you have to, I think, follow through with your words. And so if President Trump has been very clear that there'll be more sanctions towards Russia, if Russia have come all that way to Alaska to meet with Donald Trump and not agree to a deal, or to ask for more demands, or to play politics in any kind of way that Donald Trump won't be very happy about, then I think there'll be consequences.
No, but I did think it was fascinating that Trump said, if this meeting goes well tomorrow, there would very quickly be another meeting, which Zelensky would hopefully be a meeting between Zelensky and Putin, and I will be there as well if they want me to be there. Now, he would expect to be there, but just the use of that language, I think, is really interesting. The way that he's trying, at least appearing, to remove himself from the dynamic a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's right. Look, Donald Trump said when he became president that he would end this war on day one. Now, obviously, it's gone on a bit longer than that, and it's been far more complicated than I think he thought it would be. But you're right. He will want to just allow himself to be available should the two presidents want to have a meeting to sort of, say to whatever they want to say to each other on the back of a deal, and hope that could be the last word between the two of them. But of course, they might want a facilitator there just in case, or they might not want to meet at all. They might be very happy if there is an agreement to make sure that agreement is lasting through what President Trump has been able to achieve, and if that is and European allies.
OK. Charlie, thank you very much.
Now, at 7:10, Britain, well, wait for it, what a shocker, is facing a pothole crisis. And what could be making it worse is our recent increases in temperatures. We've had 4 heat waves this year.
Have we really? Wow. Well, new figures released by the vehicle breakdown company, the AA, reveal that they have received over 50,000 call-outs in July alone. This is caused by poor road surfaces.
But the cost to fix Britain's crumbling roads has been put at £16.8 billion. If you're going to sort it all out in one go.
Well, let's get more, shall we, with Mr. Pothole himself, Mark Morell. Very good morning to you, Mr. Pothole. We already know we're facing a pothole crisis, don't we? We talk about this all the time with you. How are the temperatures making it worse?
Good morning. Tarmac, the bitumens within it suffer when it reaches 50 degrees centigrade. Now, that's not the ambient temperature, because tarmac absorbs heat and it's a dark material, so it can be 20 to 30 degrees above what the air temperature is around you. So on a modest, 25 degrees, the tarmac can be suffering. It gets softer, it gets weaker, it causes ridges, it causes depressions, and when it cools eventually, it becomes more brittle. So we've already got a failing road network that's been underinvested for decades. And then the weather is having an effect on that. We get extreme weathers, don't we? We get freezing in the winter and we get sunny conditions. Back in 1995, there was a heat wave and they introduced a new polymers to put into tarmac roads. Obviously, added expense. It's only really used on the major roads, probably 5 to 10% of our network is more resilient and will take up to 80 degrees temperatures. Rural roads are being left, they cause that rutting can be dangerous. Sticky, when you get sticky roads, really, you should be sending out your road gritters that you see in the winter, putting down a granite stone dust to stabilise the road. But I don't think many local authorities I see doing that because of the funding issues. So it's an ongoing cycle. The only real answer is to resurface our roads on an annual basis over a 10 to 15 year period.
Hold on an annual basis?
Yeah. So not every road, but over a 10 to 15 year period, we should be actually resurfacing our roads, taking the worst roads off the network. It actually needs another £3 billion index linked year on year to resurface your network. Because the network in total is worth about £750 billion. And government have given £1.6 billion for local roads. Which they say is a record amount. We're back in 2021, 2022, it was 1.7 billion by the previous government. So it's all smoke and mirrors. So you need an annual resurfacing programme that takes out a percentage of your network, resurface those roads and continue to do so. That's the only way you're going to break the cycle of potholes on our roads. And also, badly maintained roads is estimated to cost the UK economy £14.4 billion a year. So if you invest that £3 billion over 10 years, you could halve that. So actually invest to save makes economic sense. And it really helps in terms of productivity for people on their roads because, badly maintained roads, poor ongoing road maintenance that can be eventually reduced significantly will have an impact on GDP.
OK. Mr Pothole, good to see you this morning, as always. Thank you very much.
I mean, what strikes me every time we talk to Mark and he brings up these figures, and they're the same, he brings up the same figures every time, and it makes absolute sense.
It does.
And it would help the economy in the long run. But will anyone ever put their hand in the pocket? And I mean, look, there's a list as long as your arm of things that need funding. So they just think we're just going to carry on with the roads and we'll just put up with it.
And it's something that affects everybody. I mean, even if you're not a driver, if you're a cyclist or you take public transport, we know the state of Britain's roads, don't we? I mean, we can all see it. Most of us probably hit a pothole and had to replace a tyre. I mean, it's just awful, isn't it?
It is terrible.
Something needs to be done.
I just have no faith that anything will be done, certainly in this Parliament.
That's a big upfront cost, isn't it?
Well, it is, but, this is what we pay our taxes for at the end of the day. But, anyway.
That's not what you think.
Let's move to wildfires, should we? They're raging across southern Europe. At least 3 people have been killed. Thousands of residents and tourists have been forced to flee resorts in Greece, where blazes are tearing through the islands of Zakynthos and Chios. Authorities across European countries have cited multiple causes for the fires, including extreme heat, as temperatures soar above 40 degrees.
The US Vice President has landed in Scotland alongside his family for the second leg of his holiday. Yesterday, J.D. Vance met with American troops stationed at RAF Fairford in Gloucestershire. He delivered a speech stressing the importance of the special relationship.
That's one of the great things about the UK's special relationship with the United States is it cuts across political alliances, it cuts across political parties.
And the Princess of Wales has released a special summer message.
Our lives flourish when we cherish the bonds of love and friendship. So open your hearts. Sing, dance, play.
Princess says it's never been more important to appreciate the value of one another as she launches her latest Mother Nature video on social media. She's credited the great outdoors for helping with her own cancer recovery. Good friendships make a big difference in life.
They do.
What would I do without you?
What would I do without you? It's very bad, actually, because I just don't feel like I'm at work when I'm with
That's good. That's good. But it's nice.
It is good.
Friendships make the world go round. I think it's lovely. They're a lovely thing.
Yes. It's nice, isn't it? Anyway, should we get a check on the weather with Honor?
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Any early showers across the southeast, soon easing away, but some thundery downpours expected across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. But for all, it is set to be another warm day ahead. Now, a Met Office yellow thunderstorm warning has been issued across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. We could see some quite heavy downpours here, some thundery downpours with some frequent lightning and also some hail. So do keep an eye out on the forecast for here. But elsewhere, we'll start to see some cloudier skies across Wales, central parts of England, the best of the sunshine across the southeast, where we'll reach highs of around 29 degrees Celsius. Into the evening, some of these heavy thundery showers could persist for a while, particularly across the far northeast of Scotland as they move their way into the Northern Isles. Starting to turn quite cloudy too, particularly around coastal areas. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England. Still a chance we could see some thundery showers here. They won't really ease away until through the course of the night. But elsewhere across England and Wales, it should be a mostly dry and pleasant end to the day, particularly across the south, where we'll see mostly clear skies. It is set to be another quite mild and muggy night, though, particularly once again across southern areas. Many towns and cities not really dropping much past the mid to high teens. And something else we'll notice as we head further into the morning is that we're starting to drag in some low cloud across the north, starting to move into parts of Scotland, northern parts of England. A chance we could see some mist and fog across central areas. So it may be a little bit of a murky start and mild start to the day too. Then into Friday to finish off the week. Once again, some low cloud, eventually lifting and breaking, but it may linger for a time, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, northeastern parts of England, where it may just be thick enough to produce some showers. But in the west, central areas of England and parts of the southeast, plenty of sunshine and temperatures up by a degree or two once again, highs reaching around 31, but much cooler under cloudier skies.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, time for the Great British Giveaway and your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for a whole year, plus get an extra £5 in your bank account to play with. But what happens, Ellie, if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay?
Well, don't panic, because if you enter, we can give you £15,000 in cash if you win. Here are all of the details that you need.
We want to send some of those monthly financial stresses packing this August with your chance to be mortgage or rent-free for 12 whole months. We'll give you a cash lump sum that equals 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to an amazing £20,000. We'll also throw in an extra £5,000 on top of that for good measure, because why not? And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you. We'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. What are you waiting for? Lines will close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, do stay with us. Still to come, the London Mayor, Sir Sadiq Khan, is considering flexible hours for workers during future heat waves. So, we're asking, are Britons simply too weak to deal with a bitter heat? We're going to be debating that next.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here, and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me next Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast.
This is Britain's newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
$7.24 now. Sir Sadiq Khan is considering giving Londoners flexible working hours during heat waves, even relaxing dress codes. Has he got control of all businesses in London then?
I don't know.
This is very hard. It's what I don't understand.
Well, the Mayor has launched a public survey while Britain bakes through its fourth heatwave of the year, while amber alerts are in place across 5 regions of the country.
So this morning we're asking, are we, as a nation, too weak to deal with the heat?
Well, joining us now is journalist and broadcaster Christo Fufas and senior lecturer in inequality, Dr. Lisa McKenzie. Morning to you both. Christo, let's start with you. Have we gone a bit soft?
I think that we become a basket case in this country when it comes to something which is a strange phenomenon known as weather. And I don't know what happens to us. If it gets a bit cold, well, the railway system shuts down, no one is able to get anywhere, and the country grinds to a halt. Now we're talking about the same thing happening when it gets a bit hot. This sort of culture of over safetyism we seem to have, where we seem to have to give continual warnings to people, telling them that it's a bit hot, or to drink a bit of water, or to show a bit of common sense, to me seems a little bit absurd. We have a massive productivity problem here in the United Kingdom. We have a lot of people who aren't working for whatever reason it might be. There might be a medical condition which is valid. It might be that there are other reasons, but it is a massive issue. So I don't think we need more reasons for why people shouldn't have to work. And also, just aside, I don't know what on earth it's got to do with Sadiq Khan as well, whether a private business, the arrangements that a private business might have regarding when its employees might be coming in or not.
What do you reckon to that, Lisa? It's a fair point, isn't it? I mean, we just need to get on with it.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what we do. I think there's two things here. There's the way that institutions react to hot weather or cold weather, but then there's the ways that ordinary Brits act to this. And the way that ordinary Brits get on with this is they literally just get on and do it. You know, we talk about, you know, the heat waves, but we're working through a heat wave. We've been working through a heat wave for the whole of this year. I mean, let's think about it. While Europe has got air conditioning everywhere, the Brits have got a fan. That's it. And so what we're doing is we are working through it. We're getting through it. You know, I remember the 1976 heat wave, which went, I mean, I was a small child, but it went on for 3 months. You know, the Brits actually got on with it. I think what we're talking about now is the way that institutions, you know, that over-risk averseness, but that doesn't explain the way that ordinary Brits get up every morning and they go to work.
Hold on, Lisa. Then does that mean? I mean, do you think Sir Sadiq is overstepping the mark? Then he should just let us get on with it.
Well, yeah, I do. I mean, you know, over the last week, I live in Nottingham. They're doing the roads. I mean, they're finally doing the potholes. There's lads all over working away this week in this heat. You know, there's people in warehouses working. There's people in supermarkets working away. Perhaps this is more about the middle class and their weakness, when the working class are actually getting on with the job and working through this.
Krista, what do you think? Is this a class issue?
I think it's a class issue, but I think it's a public sector issue as well. I mean, I think Sadiq Khan, firstly, I mean, he loves trying to solve problems that aren't actually there, rather than the real problems that a city like London faces. You know, knife crime and all of those sorts of things seem to be lower down his agenda, but deciding when people go to work, that seems to be top of his agenda, which is strange. But I think that rather than it being class, I think it is about public versus private sector. Because, I mean, can you imagine a delivery driver saying to a delivery driver today, well, you know, sorry, you can't be going and doing your deliveries. My parents were small business owners, and the idea that they would just close their shops when it was a little bit warm is absolutely ridiculous. Also, you know, all of these, you know, these reports that he's doing, these consultations where we just discuss things endlessly. I mean, do you think in Europe, where a 27, 28, 29 degree day is, I mean, that's just a day, that's just a normal day at work, they would be laughing their heads off at us for all of this. And if Sadiq Khan was so concerned about all these sorts of things, well, perhaps he would make the air quality on the underground a little bit better. Maybe he would make buses a little bit more bearable for commuters who still battle on through to get to work. But instead, it's all about the virtue and nothing about actually anything practical to help people.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd say is, you know, there is a big difference between the way that people who work in offices may be treated, and also the way that people in warehouses who are digging the roads and are out doing the delivery work. Yesterday in the heat, you know, I was getting deliveries. Nothing stopped. Everything carried on. Perhaps that's very different with the lanyard class, but it's not in the working class.
The lanyard class, I like that.
But I think the problem that we've got is that people are generally getting on with it, but there is a narrative that is coming from the government, especially this government, especially things like the Trade Unions Congress as well, which the TUC, which I've been seeing a lot online, saying, actually, no, we are too weak. We do need to have more of this guidance. We do need to be telling people, when most people, they do get on with it. You know, as you mentioned, I've got this amazing invention here. I'm going to show you it. It's called a fan. And look, and you sort of just putting it on now. Oh, it's absolutely, look, there, look. And I'm working. It's perfect. This fan is amazing. Now, we don't need, I can't turn it off now. We don't need a long report from Sadiq Khan to tell me that this is something I could use to be able to work. It's just absolute nonsense. Why do we go so insane when there's a bit of hot weather? I mean, the front pages are full of it, you know, telling us that we're all going to die. We need to drink water. I mean, it is just ridiculous.
No. All right.
I imagine every bloke now who's working on the roads today are just getting on with it and not giving a stuff what Sadiq Khan says.
Yeah, all right. Lisa Mackenzie, Christo Foufas, thank you both. Just a reminder in this hot weather, don't forget to breathe, either of you. It's very important. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you, you two. Now do stay with us. Still to come, Hayden.
Hayden.
That's a new member of staff.
Oh, well, I look forward to meeting him, her.
Hayden. No, Aidan. Aidan McGee. How's your sports? Including the news that Venus Williams is back on the court. That's next.
Well, back in.
Crash Law 24. sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Temporary traffic lights on the A9 at Thatcher are causing significant delays. The M4 westbound is closed between junctions 45 Wannisforgan and 46 Langifalak for inspections, with diversions in place. In Leicestershire, the M1 northbound is delayed by a traffic incident between junctions 21 and 22, closing 3 out of 4 lanes and causing a 20-minute delay. On the M20 westbound, a broken-down vehicle between junctions 9 and 8 leads to lane closures and travel disruptions. And on the trains, Avanti, West Coast and Cross Country report disruptions through Wolverhampton. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very easy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me next Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast.
We're back with the sports news and Aidan. And I think Spurs did quite well last night.
Yeah, they didn't do too badly.
They lost, but they did well.
They did, but look, it's a free hit in a way because this is the UEFA Super Cup final, as I mentioned earlier on. It's played in a 25,000 stadium in Udine, which I think was a little bit disappointing. It deserved a bigger stage than that, but it is what it is. And for 75 minutes or so, they did pretty well, but they were 2-0 up, and nobody was expecting them to win. And they just let themselves down in the last, 5 minutes, really. I mean, they conceded in the 85th minute and then again in added time. It went to penalties and they lost. And, yeah, OK, disappointing, but nobody was giving them a chance. And the fact that they've come away from it just after one match saying we should have won this game will be looked upon as progress, I think, from Thomas Frank, who I think we can hear from now.
Very, very proud of the players, the team, the club, the fans. I think the players gave everything. Playing against one of the best teams in the world, maybe the best at the moment, and I think 75, 80 minutes, perfect, almost giving nothing away against, they put 4 players with unbelievable individual quality on the pitch. So very, very proud of them, yeah.
So that's Thomas Frank speaking there, and I think Spurs will look back on that with a bit of positivity as they get to the weekend's games against Burnley at home.
Right. What's going on with Venus Williams? I thought she'd retired.
Yes, but then sometimes they're prone to comebacks now and again. She's been out of the sport for about 16 months. She played in the Washington Open in the summer, and she won a first-round match. And she was the first. She's the old, I think, set a record as being the oldest woman at 44 years old to win a tour match. And so she's been given, usually on account of having won the tournament early, she's been given a wild card to compete at the US Open, which begins on the 24th of August.
She'd be a real threat.
I wouldn't like to face her late on.
No.
You know, if you're a top player. I mean, I can't look, to be honest, I don't expect her to trouble the latter stages of the tournament, or nobody is. I mean, we don't really know what kind of physical condition she's in because she's not been playing as often as some of the leading contenders there. But I think it's going to be difficult to see beyond people like Swiatek, Coco Gauff, etc. Who knows? Even Emma Raducanu. Let's hope for the best.
Oh yeah, got to have a bit of hope for her as well.
Yes.
And tell us about the Premier League.
Ref camps.
This is ref camps.
Yeah. So they've decided they're going to trial attaching a camera to a referee to the shirt, Stephen.
Oh, a bit like a police officer.
Yes, precisely.
I don't think that's a bad idea.
Or a checkout assistant in Tesco. They're
wearing them now.
No, they're not. But I think they should. So the cameras are the technology is going to be attached to the shirt, and it's not going to be live,
right?
Because it doesn't really fit with the broadcasters, because the broadcasters are the ones who are driving this.
Oh, that's Charlotte Griffiths. She's just coming in a little bit early, if you don't mind.
She's very keen for the paper.
Very keen.
She was hear about ref cams, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Look, so the refs are going to be on the field of play, and the idea is that you're going to be able to refer back to any contentious issues like a key foul or a penalty to give the viewer an idea of what the referee saw, the angle the referee saw, so people can have a little bit more sympathy with them by saying, actually, you know what, that was the view that he had, and that's why he gave that decision, and this is why VAR, who he's probably referred it to in all honesty, has made the decision that they've...
That's quite a good idea.
Yeah, it's not bad. Look,
I think it's a good idea.
It is, but we all said that about VAR in 2019, and it wasn't thought through.
Yeah.
I wonder how keenly this has been thought through. But it's a bit of fun for the early games of the season.
Yeah.
Who knows? We might be able to show some footage here on GB News.
Yeah. Meanwhile, just to round us off, Wayne Rooney is hit back at Tom Brady.
Yeah, it's only happened in the last few minutes, this. But yeah, Tom Brady, it was an Amazon documentary, which I've been quite interested in actually. I've been quite keen on following. Tom Brady went in there. It was when Rooney was manager of Birmingham City 18 months ago at Ellie, and he kind of criticised his work ethic, and that was a red rag to a bull to Rooney, and judging by his comments, because he said it was an awful thing to say. Very disappointed with it. He said he doesn't know anything about football. He spent a day with us without having spent any time at a football club the day before a game where the load is in terms of the schedule is much lighter, and he took a précis of that and cast dye all over Rooney's career, and it will affect his prospects going forward. If he is going to have a final stab at management, then I don't think that a lot of clubs will take him seriously on the result of that. So he's been given a right of reply on a podcast, I think it is. No, it was a commentary last night for the Spurs game, and so he's hit back at Tom Brady and made his feelings clear.
Yeah. Oh, well, fair on him.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Aidan, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Aidan. Now, do stay with us. Still to come, we are going to go through the papers now with Charlotte Griffiths.
Come on, wander on.
Gray.
Just wander on through anytime you like.
See you in a second, you two.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The summer heat wave continues across much of Europe, particularly inland France, Spain and Portugal, where we're likely to see temperatures in the mid to low 40s. And with these high temperatures, we are set to see plenty of sunshine, but slightly different story as we move our way eastwards across the Mediterranean. At times, this heat is likely to produce some quite heavy, if not thundery showers across parts of Italy. And that is set to continue over the weekend, and the hot temperatures are here to stay.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Dale, so what's all this about? You're involved in this scheme. The idea is that people who've got depression need to get out and about, and football's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up really rather well there. Football is a place for communities. It's a place where you feel a part of something. I know this from my experience of football. I've been running Forest Green for about 15 years now. And chatting to our local GP, who happens to be also our MP, but we just had the idea, why don't we offer football on prescription? Because it'd be a lovely thing to do. Football is a great place to come and meet other people and be a part of something. And it could really help people that are feeling isolated and lonely and you know, other aspects of mental health. So I'm really happy to be taking part in this, and if it works here in Stroud, then we're hoping we'll roll it out nationally, and maybe even the NHS will embrace it as a national programme. That would be great.
This is football clubs that have signed up to voluntarily offer seats to be a part of this programme.
Yeah, and right now it's one football club, Forest Green Rovers, but I hope that football clubs up and down the country and up and down the leagues of football as well, because it doesn't have to be a Premier Championship club. You know, there are lots of great leagues in our country and local clubs for people to go and take part with. So yeah, it's not being paid for by the NHS. It's being paid for currently by Forest Green Rovers.
You're a businessman, though. Surely you must see some, you know, some dollar signs on this one. Sell the tickets to the NHS.
Well, I'm British, so I don't look at dollar signs. But look, I'm primarily an environmentalist, and what I care about is making our country a better place. I spend most of my time pursuing the green economy, but I believe in tax justice, social justice, that kind of stuff. Mental health is a crisis in our country, particularly for men. You know, it's the biggest cause of suicide for the under 50s. Men are affected 3 times more than women. Men don't tend to talk to each other. They don't talk about their problems. And so this is not about money.
GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Sympathy at all. Freddie Gray and Charlotte Griffiths are here to take us through the papers. Good morning, you two.
Morning.
Let's start, Charlotte, with the Daily Mail. God, I can't get any words out this morning.
It's going really well.
Honestly. Looking at King Charles.
The Sun King.
The Sun King. So King Charles has taken over a horse paddock in the back of Sandringham in Norfolk and covered it in solar panels, 2,000 solar panels. So he's really kind
of a size paddock, then.
Yeah, well, obviously the Queen loved her horses. The late Queen loved her horses. And as we well know, the King loves his eco-credentials. So in comes a new monarch, out goes the horses, and it is completely providing all the electricity for Sandringham, which is obviously a very big place. So good on him, I suppose. And they're going to last for 40 years. He's planted loads of trees to hide them from visitors to Sandringham, because of course you can visit most royal residences now with King Charles in charge. And it's just, I mean, it's very on brand for him, and he's, you know, practising what he preaches.
Well, good on him. If he wants to do it, why not? It's his land.
Quite nothing to disagree with there. I prefer a monarch who likes horses to one that likes solar panels, but that's just me.
Yeah, he should be having sort of wild boar hunting paddocks or something, you know, much more medieval than this sort of modern, you know. But, you know, those poor horses, I think he is actually going to wind down the Royal Horse Association. He does keep the stables, the racing stables of his late mother, but I think over the years we're going to see that association between monarchs and animals wind down a little bit.
Maybe. Freddie, let's have a look at the front page of the Daily Mail this morning, shall we? And their headline this morning, BBC climbs down over xenophobe slur on Robert Jenrick.
Well, the key part of this story is you should watch the Daily Reflection on GB News and not listen to Thought for the Day on the BBC, because as we saw yesterday, Robert Jenrick was called xenophobic by someone called Dr. Krish Kandia, who is an evangelical figure. And the BBC had to remove the programme from their website. They put it back edited without the insult to Robert Jenrick. And this is sort of catnip to Robert Jenrick, who's been getting a lot of publicity out of it, saying, I'm not a xenophobe, I just care about my country, and I think that I'm worried about the link between illegal immigration and crime.
Well, if you're worried about illegal immigration, as a lot of people in the country are, to be branded xenophobic is quite a statement.
And what Robert said, rightly, is that by just brandishing people that are worried about this as xenophobic, that's actually quite a lot of the country. It's millions and millions of people. I mean, you've got a daughter, Freddie, I've got 2 daughters. You do worry about this kind of thing. It's OK to be worried about your children. In fact, it's the primary purpose of a parent, is to worry and fret about your children, sometimes unnecessarily, and in this case, very necessarily. But what I find with the BBC is that time and time again, these things slip through the net. And it makes you realise that there's a culture of the BBC that nobody notices. I mean, how many hours and hours and hours was this up for before somebody thought, oh, hold on a minute, you can't really say this. And it made it through the editing process, because don't forget, it's not live.
Is it not? Is it recorded?
Yeah, so nobody in the whole of the BBC flagged it up because they all think the same way. They're all in their echo chamber. And it took, basically, the Mail on Sunday and others to sort of flag it.
And Krish Kandiah has form. Last week he was talking about Sydney Sweeney being a sort of enabling white supremacy because of her advert about jeans, which was a bit of a story last week. So, I mean, he's obviously quite a radical figure to be putting on. He hasn't yet commented on this.
No, well, we might get some comment from him, we'll see. Yeah. In the Daily Mail, Charlotte, I mean, this is just hilarious. That famous picture now of David Lammy and J.D. Vance fishing. It was illegal.
Well, I urge people to read this article for the puns alone, because my dear colleague Sam Merriman managed to say he's on the hook in the first the first sentence, and he even interviewed somebody called Fergal Sharkey to comment on it. Yes. But basically, what this is that when they had their little fishing trip, Lammy was supposed to have applied for a £7.30 fishing licence, and the fact that he hasn't means he could be on the hook for a £2,500 fine. And it's just a silly oversight, really, and it kind of and everyone's made light of it. And a Labour source has been quoted saying there's nothing fishy to see here.
Well, it is. I mean, it's presumably a fishing licence at his own grace and favour home.
Well, that's true, actually.
So
but I think it's
maybe
opposed to the rod rather than the place.
I think the problem was he panicked, and he after the event applied for a licence.
And referred himself to the watchdog.
And referred himself to the watchdog. Whereas
apparently.
Nobody would have cared.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise.
And I think that's what this article's so good. It kind of makes light of the fact that actually on this occasion, the Mail and other tabloid newspapers aren't coming after him because we'll forgive him. And especially because he didn't catch a single fish, as J.D. Vance helpfully pointed out for him.
But
Did
J.D.
Vance catch anything?
No, neither of them.
I think his children...
the kids did well, didn't they?
It was
J.D. Vance described him as a very good friend. Are we surprised at how warm their relationship is between them? And those pictures that you
J.D. Vance seems to get on with everyone he meets. He's hated by people
apart
that don't
from
meet.
Zelensky.
Well, Zelensky, they had a phone call yesterday that apparently was amicable. But J.D. Vance gets on with a wide range of figures, from sort of George Osborne to Nigel Farage to David Lammy. He's quite good at ingratiating himself with British people. And it's interesting, unlike a lot of American statesmen who actually don't, they pretend to care about Britain, but they don't. J.D. Vance really is interested.
He's a true Anglophile, isn't he?
Yeah.
But do you know who he fell out with yesterday? Is the Dalesford, the local people of Dalesford. We went to the Dalesford farm, and his cavalcade took over every disabled parking spot in the whole of Dalesford, including a bomb disposal lorry. And the residents, being Cotswolds residents, were obviously up in arms with their pitchforks almost straight away, complaining that he'd taken over the Cotswolds.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's in Scotland now, anyway.
Yes.
He's off to Scotland, yeah. But wasn't it something like a 10-car motorcade or something?
That's what they do, though, isn't it? It's just what they do. It's fine.
Yeah. But on those tiny little roads, you can see why. Yes. I mean, Jeremy Clarkson wasn't very happy, was he?
No.
And the like.
Kamala Harris was there as Vice President and didn't seem to make as much news when she was there.
She was there for a wedding, wasn't she?
She was there for a wedding.
Kind of slipped under the radar of Steve Jobs' daughter's wedding.
That's right.
That's what it was, yeah. Should we have a look at the... No, we won't. We're going to look at this. At the sticky end, the British pudding faces extinction, Charlotte.
Yeah, well,
we're very alarmed at this.
Sad, but in a way kind of predictable, because when was the last time you made a pudding? Like, you know, one of those ones that you steam. So English Heritage is saying that the good old British pudding is in decline. And people do bake still, you know, and we all love bake-off and everything, but do people actually boil a pudding, old school style, you know, a bit of sticky toffee dick or whatever they're called, and summer pudding and all those boiled puddings, you know.
That one.
They are all
You've
the
been
way.
fed as a child.
I've got to say it's true. I love a summer pudding. My mother-in-law makes a summer
Oh, a
pudding.
summer
She's in her
pudding,
70s,
yes.
And it's brilliant. And it's made with white bread that you kind of soak. But I don't think...
lots of berries.
When that generation passes, I can't imagine myself lining a baking tin with white
You
bread
need
and
to
then
learn
soaking it in
now.
berries.
A good steamed
They're so
pudding. I love
nostalgic,
a
aren't
steamed
they?
pudding.
Yeah.
People make crumbles, though, don't they? People still make crumbles and pies.
I don't think that counts as a pudding. This is quite a good debate that we could have. So
They aren't. Now that's controversial, Charlotte.
I think it has to be sort of boiled to be a pudding. I may get your viewers writing in droves now.
What is it if it isn't a pudding?
Well, it is there are two different ways of calling a pudding, isn't there? So when you call a dessert a pudding, so you're thinking...
I call dessert pudding.
But what English heritage is saying that's on the decline is that kind of British pudding, like a Christmas pudding, boiled
sticky
kind of
toffee
cake.
pudding, the best kind of pudding.
Toffee, I won't say the D word.
Well, a sticky toffee pudding's on decline. Surely they'll
Apparently.
survive. They're very popular.
And they're on every menu.
Even I like a sticky toffee pudding.
But where do you make them at home, Freddie?
Yes, actually. My wife and son made one quite recently.
Well, there you go. Well done you. You're very British. In the meantime, should we go...
We're sticking to it.
Very British to very American. How do you fancy a bit of fisticuffs, Freddie, on the White House lawn?
I love this story. It's a perfect story about what the Trump administration is all about. Donald Trump sees himself as a sort of emperor figure.
Yeah.
He loves the idea of having a UFC fight on the White House lawn. And it's going to go ahead. It's going to be to mark the 250th birthday of America, which Trump is turning into this great pageant, again, sort of like an emperor celebrating
So it's like cage fighters?
It's cage fighting, yeah, which is incredibly popular all over the world, actually, but particularly in America it's very popular. And it is something that a lot of people find quite distasteful, and it's not...
Why?
Because it's very, very violent.
But that's the whole point of fighting.
I see that.
Civilised fight.
Well, boxing is, there are limits on the amount of violence you can do, and you watch someone being knocked out in boxing, it's slightly different to watching... I mean, I'm not being pious about this. I've watched UFC. I quite enjoy it. But it's definitely can be quite disturbing.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think it'd be a good night out, really. Good on him for that. Right, you two, thank you. We'll see you a little bit later.
Let's get a check on the weather with Ilona.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Any early showers across the southeast, soon easing away, but some thundery downpours expected across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. But for all, it is set to be another warm day ahead. Now, a Met Office yellow thunderstorm warning has been issued across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. We could see some quite heavy downpours here, some thundery downpours with some frequent lightning and also some hail. So do keep an eye out on the forecast for here. But elsewhere, we'll start to see some cloudy skies across Wales, central parts of England, the best of the sunshine across the southeast, where we'll reach highs of around 29 degrees Celsius. Into the evening, some of these heavy thundery showers could persist for a while, particularly across the far northeast of Scotland as they move their way into the Northern Isles, starting to turn quite cloudy too, particularly around coastal areas. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, still a chance we could see some thundery showers here. They won't really ease away until through the course of the night. But elsewhere across England and Wales, it should be a mostly dry and pleasant end to the day, particularly across the south, where we'll see mostly clear skies. It is set to be another quite mild and muggy night, though, particularly once again across southern areas. Many towns and cities not really dropping much past the mid to high teens. And something else we'll notice as we head further into the morning is that we're starting to drag in some low cloud across the north, starting to move into parts of Scotland, northern parts of England. A chance we could see some mist and fog across central areas. So it may be a little bit of a murky start and mild start to the day too. Then into Friday to finish off the week. Once again, some low cloud, eventually lifting and breaking, but it may linger for a time, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, northeastern parts of England, where it may just be thick enough to produce some showers. But in the west, central areas of England and parts of the southeast, plenty of sunshine and temperatures up by a degree or two once again, highs reaching around 31, but much cooler under cloudier skies.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24. sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. There is currently heavy congestion on the A470 southbound, stretching from Nantgarw to Corriton and causing significant delays for both commuters and travellers navigating the area. Additionally, on the M25 clockwise, a road traffic collision between Junction 6 and Junction 7 has led to the closure of 2 out of 4 lanes, exacerbating the existing traffic build-up. Meanwhile, train services are experiencing severe disruptions, with both Avanti West Coast and Cross Country encountering significant delays, particularly impacting the Wolverhampton area. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
There's just 3 weeks to see how you could win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good morning. A-level results are being released as we speak.
A day to remember for thousands of nervous students and their families across England, Wales and Northern Ireland.
Well, the Education Secretary will be with us later on this hour as we get the latest on how this year's cohort has performed.
Well, here in Lichfield, students here already waiting for their results, hundreds of thousands doing the same across the country, with more than a quarter expected to get A star or A. We'll be getting reaction live.
We're here at Wilberforce Sixth Form College in Hull, where the excitement and nerves are building as students come to collect their A-level, BTEC and T-level results.
The Prime Minister will welcome Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at Downing Street this morning. GB News will bring you the very latest on that as it happens.
If the first one goes okay, we'll have a quick second one. I would like to do it almost immediately, and we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself, if they'd like to have me there.
Well, it is the eve of President Trump and President Putin meeting in Alaska, but will Trump follow through with his threat of severe consequences if peace isn't brokered?
The economy grew 0.3% in the 3 months to June. Slowdown from 0.7% growth in the first quarter, though. Is it a sign that the economy has turned a corner?
Thousands of people forced to flee resorts as wildfires rage across southern Europe. At least 3 people have been killed.
Hello there, good morning. It'll either be a day of thundery showers or continued warm sunshine. To find out which one will affect you, stay tuned and I'll have all the details.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast. So Tyson Fury, the boxer.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Married his wife, Paris Fury, for the third time.
Third time?
Third time. They've never actually got divorced. They just keep renewing their vows.
Oh, do they?
So they got married in something like 2005 in the north of England somewhere. And they got redid their vows again in 2013, and then they redid it all again this week in the south of France with all their children in tow.
Oh,
I think it's quite romantic.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
They've got the money to do it, so why not?
Well, they do, don't they?
Why
so
not?
best of luck to them.
Talking of money, GDP figures are out this morning. I mean, it basically shows us how the economy is doing. And I have to say, better than expected growth of 0.3%. I mean, it's still basically flat, but better than it could have been. Let's talk to the Shadow Business and Trade Secretary, Andrew Griffith. Good morning to you. I mean, look, certainly in the Treasury, they're going to be breathing a sigh of relief this morning, aren't they?
I mean, if anyone's breathing a sigh of relief about growth of 0.3% when inflation is running at nearly 10 times that, unemployment's going up and our national debt is at its highest ever level, then they really need to go and take a long, cold lie down. This is not good. And what it shows is that Rachel Reeves has tried to get the economy growing in her method, which is spending a vast amount of other people's money, putting up taxes, and all it's done is precisely what we said, which is it's made up employers have to lay people off, it's subdued the economy, and it means we're paying more on our interest, £130 billion, more than twice what we spend as a country on defence, just on paying the interest on that national debt. So this is a moment for a really big reset. Instead of sitting there working out how to tax people more, how to raid people's inheritance, steal their pensions, tax more on their houses, she needs to be having a hard look at public spending. We need some public spending cuts. We need to reduce the size of the state. It's the only way of getting the public finances back under control. And these growth figures are really nothing to be celebrating or positive.
Well, let's talk about inheritance, shall we? Because there have been reports this week that the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, is looking at a possible inheritance tax raid, looking at potentially scrapping that 7-year rule, perhaps something more like 10 or 15 years now. What do you make of that as an idea?
I think it's a terrible idea. I mean, I abhor inheritance tax anyway. It undermines people's incentives. It goes against the basic human instinct to want to do well for themselves, provide for your future. Remember, a lot of inheritance tax is paid by people in the unfortunate situation of an early unplanned death when a family has lost a breadwinner and having to support themselves. It's a terrible tax in general. And the idea that the Chancellor, having already chilled the economy, driven up unemployment, presiding over the biggest brain drain our country has ever seen, probably equal and opposite to the number of small boats that Prime Minister's let in, is looking at expanding the scope of inheritance tax, is a terrible, terrible thing. She should absolutely be stopped from doing that. What they should spend much more time on is public spending cuts, and top of my list would be the $35 billion they're proposing on giving away Chagos to the Mauritians. The Mauritians have no inheritance tax because they're going to be benefiting from vast amounts of British taxpayers.
What I don't understand with something like this is, if it were to happen, and it does look pretty likely, what impact there would be on the economy in the short term. Because if this was brought in towards the end of the year, wouldn't people who are able to gift under the 7-year rule just do it now? You'd see a huge change of money, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I think, I mean, probably a lot of people are doing that, just as a lot more people will be looking at moving overseas. On the day our wonderful young people celebrate their exam results, I want to see a British economy that is full of opportunity for young people. What I don't want is to send a message that unemployment is rising, people are not hiring graduates or school leavers at the same rate they were, and this socialist government doesn't understand and support your ambition to make something of yourself in life. These taxes, whether it's the tax on private education, the family business death tax, the tax on family farms, don't raise the amount that these socialists sitting in Whitehall think tanks dream up. partly because people change their behaviour, and partly because you just get a smaller economy as a result. So the cake shrinks, there's less money to tax.
It is A-level results day today. They came out at 8 o'clock this morning, so many students up and down the country now will be collecting their results. Front page of some of the papers today talking about rescue plans if universities collapse. They're concerned about a number of universities in England that are millions of pounds in debt and said to be at risk of collapse. So clearly the funding model for higher education isn't working, is it? Does the system need to be updated? Is it still a good choice for the majority of people to try and go to university?
Choice if they can get a good job or the life that they want to lead on the back of that. And as business secretary, shadow business secretary, my job is to try and make sure that the business side of the economy is able to offer those opportunities, which sadly Labour's attacks on employment, red tape or tax are undermining that. In terms of the university sector, if the government should protect the interests of individual students, the sector itself, it's a good, big, successful, actually it's a business sector in its own right. It sees itself as a business, but it has also overexpanded. Not every single institution offers the highest quality product. Students don't have enough choice because they all seem to charge exactly the same fees. So students can't particularly shop around to find different deals. And, I remember when I was the research minister, if there are individual institutions that have expanded a bit too much, borrowed a bit too much money, paid their senior managers a bit too much, then you can't protect every single institution. But governments, of course, should protect the individual students.
Yeah. OK, Andrew Griffiths, good to see you this morning. Thank you very much indeed. Mr Griffiths there, not at all impressed by those growth figures of 0.3%. But this is what the Chancellor had to say.
Today's numbers show that the economy beat expectations in the second quarter of this year. We are the fastest growing economy in the G7 for the first half of this year, with a GDP growth of 0.3% this quarter, and that's after GDP growth of 0.7% the quarter before that. Look, I recognise there's still more to do to make sure that people in all parts of the country benefit from that growth.
I don't know what to think about it all, really. I mean, the figures have been like this for years now. I mean, not just under this government. And you're basically staying flat. It is better than being flat or being a negative figure.
Yeah.
Right? Better than a decrease in GDP. But Andrew Griffiths has a point. He says it's nowhere near, it is nowhere near where we should be.
No.
We are meant to be growing the economy, and that is the way we were meant to save the finances of this country. It's what Labour said they were going to do.
And it's sluggish, isn't it, really?
Very sluggish.
We need a bit of speed, a bit of momentum. And that's what we just keep hearing from the Chancellor and from ministers that we have on every day. It's in the right direction, but we need more,
it's not enough.
more momentum. We need more.
Anyway, on to more positive things, should we? Because thousands of students are opening their A-level results right now across England, Wales and Northern Ireland.
Yes, UCAS has confirmed that record numbers of 18-year-olds will be celebrating today after getting a place at university or college.
10,000 more students are going to university in September compared to last year. That's one heck of a jump.
Well, we're joined now by GB News national reporter Anna Riley, who's in Hull for us this morning. Morning to you, Anna.
Morning, I've got a promotion by the sounds of it there as well. Good to be with you both. We're here at Wilberforce Sixth Form College in Hull, where students are just coming through the doors now, getting their A-level results, their BTEC results and their T-level results. I'm delighted to be joined by Colin Peakes. He's the principal here. Colin, what are the results looking like this year?
Really, really good. Yeah, we're really pleased with what we're seeing for the students. It's obviously been a very turbulent time over the last few years.
and now we can see results really settling, and students have done really, really well. Really excited for them.
And it's a combination here between people doing practical courses and people doing A-levels, going on to university.
Absolutely, yeah. The whole future of students has changed. You know, there's that skills agenda out there in the country. We've got lots of students that will go onto apprenticeships, lots of students going to work, and then we have our students that go off to university. So the days of just university as an option is very different now. It's moved on, and it's great because the students have got so many options for them. Businesses want them to work for them, and I think the big thing for our students is about building those skills around their qualifications so that they're ready for that world of work as well. So really good.
And why is that important in cities like Hull to have these practical options and not just push people towards university?
Well, you know, Hull is a very diverse city. A lot of it is in the sort of the labour industry. We've got lots of small businesses, and they need creative people to come in there and stimulate this economy and really put this area on the map. So we recognise that we need to feed that pipeline, and having a range of qualifications really does achieve that.
And is there any nervousness about university courses? We know that a lot of students are getting into their courses at the moment, but is there that worry that there's not the funding that the universities have got to keep going?
Yeah, I think there is, and I think there's the funding for the students themselves and the cost of university, and it's got to be the right experience. I think we're finding some universities don't have as much time with contacts with students, and so therefore some of their experiences aren't what they thought they'd be. So it's a bit of a turbulent time for that sector. That said, loads of students go off to university, and that sort of skills that I talked about and becoming the right person ready for the future is what university brings to a student as well. So yeah, it's just a different challenge, but students recognise that financial burden, certainly in an area like this.
And how has A-Levels Day changed? Because now you can get your results online. You don't necessarily have to come into college like in the old days.
No, absolutely. I mean, you can see behind us here we've got lots of students coming this morning, but we do have a lot of students that can look and see if they've got into university, so that's the head start for them. Then they'll come in and they'll get the results a little bit later on, but many will access them online and are quite happy with that, but that's how the world works.
Definitely. And just give us some advice to students waking up this morning, if they've done well or if they've not done as well as expected.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they've done well, fantastic, you know, move on, brilliant. If they haven't, the advice is out there and the support. We always have staff on hand. You know, for the next week or so, we've got staff to help with clearing. There's nothing to worry about. I would say to students as well, particularly for university, universities want students. So come in, talk to us. Same to any college across the country. Go and talk to your college, talk to the people that can help, the careers people, and you will get something that will work right. And I always say, success is a destination, isn't it? In the end, it's that, you know, what they do is work through any challenge you get in life, you overcome, you do well, and that's what it's all about.
And you've seen these results now coming back after pre-pandemic levels, you know, they were changing work because students weren't going into school. Do you think it's averaged out now?
It's looking that way, particularly at this age group. I think we've had some trouble last year with some of the English and maths results coming from secondary schools, and I think there's still a little bit of work to do there with those students coming through. We know that nationally there's attendance challenges in schools, and we see that, so it's about picking those students back up. Next week we'll find out with our GCSE students about those ones that have done retakes, and we'll get them through, we'll move them through courses, get them through level 3 and see them move on and be really successful. So yeah, there's lots of challenges still. It's never easy, but there's so many happy kids today, I'm sure, across the country, and good luck to them all.
Thank you so much, Colin. Thank you. And we're going to be speaking to some of those students in the next hour, so do join us then to see how they've got on with their results and what they're going on to do next.
Lovely stuff. Thanks very much indeed, Anna. Let's talk to Jack Carson now, who's in Lichfield. What's going on there, Jack?
Well, lots of happy faces. I'm happy to report already here at the school. Lots of hugging, lots of crying parents as well as crying students. Sue Hannam, the head teacher, joins us now. Sue, thank you for letting us come to the school this morning. Just kind of, tell us a little bit about, the results that you've got here at the school today, and how happy you are today and this morning. You've got a big smile on your face.
I have. I've got a huge smile on my face. No tears yet, although I've come close, I can tell you. I mean, we're thrilled with our results. 100% pass rate, students going to the universities that they want to go to, lots of A's and A stars. I am so super proud of this lot. It's not easy. A-levels, as we know, and BTECs, they're not for the faint-hearted. They're hard work. The syllabuses are wide, they're challenging. They've worked their socks off, and it's so satisfying to see all the smiles today. I mean, you've seen it yourself. It's just brilliant.
Well, these A-levels and they seem to get harder every year, and they're demanding more and more of the students. So just how difficult for some of them has the last kind of couple of years been doing these qualifications?
Yeah, I think on a serious note, the GCSE syllabuses are also enormously wide, and I would recommend a review of those if anyone is listening. And so really the journey to get to A-level, you've been under a huge amount of academic pressure and stress. We know that we have a mental health crisis with young people. I think that's important we recognise as well. And to be honest, the nature of these qualifications can for some students be inordinately stressful, but they do rise to the challenge, and I think schools have got better and better at supporting young people, particularly around the anxiety and stress elements of their qualifications, as well as academically challenging them, obviously.
All right, Sue, thank you so much. I'm going to bring in Henry now, who has literally just got his results. Henry, come and stand next to me. Can we open the envelope?
Yep,
Should we do it?
Yeah.
I saw you hugging your dad. So go on then, read through. This is what we've got.
I got a B in physics and music technology and an A in maths.
Fantastic. A in maths?
Yeah.
I was terrible at maths at school, so I'm very jealous you're that good. So where are you going to next? What has this got you into?
I'm going to Liverpool University to study physics.
Oh, fantastic. And what are your aspirations going forward? You're going to study physics.
Yeah.
What is the dream career for you at the moment?
Well, to be honest, my dream career is being a musician, but I really want to do as much physics stuff in my spare time as possible. My goal is to kind of go into astrophotography and take photos of like stars and stuff. That is just a major interest of mine. And yeah, that's it. I really like space.
and how do you feel today?
So
opening
good,
the results.
so
I saw
good.
you hugging your mum and dad. Your dad's been in tears, bless him, already this morning. How does it feel?
It's great. It's like a huge weight off my shoulders. This day was like so imminent and so stressful, but it's really good for me to know that I'm moving on and that my 2 years of hard work has paid off.
And what have the last couple of years been like? Just, been hearing from Sue how, it can be very stressful and, schools are learning to deal with all of everything that comes with that. How have the last couple of years been for you, studying these qualifications?
Really eye-opening. I've definitely know that I've changed as a person academically these last 2 years. Like, it was very slow at the start, but I started to pick up the pace and became a lot more independent, and I genuinely feel like I'm ready to move on as opposed to from GCSE to sixth form.
Henry, thank you so much for joining us. I'll let you go rejoin your mum and dad. Thank you so much for opening these results on air. It takes a lot of nerves to do that, but a very happy Henry here this morning, and a lot of very happy students opening their results, and more to come in the next hour.
Lovely stuff, Jack. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Good on him.
And Henry sounded a bit like your cup of tea. He wants
a geek, basically.
He loves space and he wants to take photos of stars.
You see,
that's his dream career.
Oh, good on him, though. Good on him.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Good results as well, so well done to Henry.
A young person who's done well and is feeling, optimistic and excited about his future, that's good. That can only be a positive thing.
Yeah, got his whole life ahead of him. Very good.
Does that make
and he's worked hard as well for 2 years.
Yeah, well, good on him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you've just got to wish these young people the best and hope they've got the determination and the stamina to keep going through and achieve what they want to achieve.
Yeah. So good luck. Good luck, all of you.
Do you remember
opening
yours?
A-level results day. Yes. Do you remember yours?
Oh, it's not that long, but is that long? Yeah, I do. It was great. I had a great day.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah. I was so nerve-wracking, though, the whole way in. Oh, awful. But you had to go into school then, whereas now they're getting them online, so they get a little taster of how they've done.
As Anna Riley said, in the olden days.
In the olden days. You'd have to go pick them up. Very nerve-wracking car journey. Anyway, good luck, all of you who are collecting results today, and congratulations as well.
Now, at 8:20 in other news, wildfires raging across southern Europe. Thousands of people have been forced to flee results, particularly in Greece, where blazes are tearing through the islands of Zakynthos and Chios. Authorities have cited multiple causes, including extreme heat. Temperatures are soaring above 40 Celsius.
The US Vice President has landed in Scotland alongside his family for the second leg of his holiday. JD Vance met with American troops stationed at RAF Fairford in Gloucestershire. He delivered a speech stressing the importance of the special relationship.
That's one of the great things about the UK's special relationship with the United States is it cuts across political alliances, it cuts across political parties.
And the Princess of Wales has released a special summer message.
Our lives flourish when we cherish the bonds of love and friendship. So open your hearts. Sing, dance, play.
Well, she says it's never been more important to appreciate the value of one another. She's previously credited the great outdoors that we see a lot of in that video for helping her own cancer recovery.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, can Donald Trump keep Putin in line tomorrow when they meet in Alaska? We're going to be talking about that next.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Any early showers across the southeast, soon easing away, but some thundery downpours expected across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. But for all, it is set to be another warm day ahead. Now, a Met Office yellow thunderstorm warning has been issued across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. We could see some quite heavy downpours here, some thundery downpours with some frequent lightning and also some hail. So do keep an eye out on the forecast for here. But elsewhere, we'll start to see some cloudier skies across Wales, central parts of England, the best of the sunshine across the southeast, where we'll reach highs of around 29 degrees Celsius. Into the evening, some of these heavy thundery showers could persist for a while, particularly across the far northeast of Scotland as they move their way into the Northern Isles, starting to turn quite cloudy too, particularly around coastal areas. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, still a chance we could see some thundery showers here. They won't really ease away until through the course of the night. But elsewhere across England and Wales, it should be a mostly dry and pleasant end to the day, particularly across the south, where we'll see mostly clear skies. It is set to be another quite mild and muggy night, though, particularly once again across southern areas. Many towns and cities not really dropping much past the mid to high teens. And something else we'll notice as we head further into the morning is that we're starting to drag in some low cloud across the north, starting to move into parts of Scotland, northern parts of England. A chance we could see some mist and fog across central areas. So it may be a little bit of a murky start and mild start to the day too. Then into Friday to finish off the week. Once again, some low cloud, eventually lifting and breaking, but it may linger for a time, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, northeastern parts of England, where it may just be thick enough to produce some showers. But in the west, central areas of England and parts of the southeast, plenty of sunshine and temperatures up by a degree or two once again, highs reaching around 31, but much cooler under cloudier skies.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
But, all right, let's move on, shall we? Gentlemen, are you checking your engines at home? Some men know more about Formula One than signs of prostate cancer. A new survey reveals 27% of men could name more F1 drivers than what the symptoms were for prostate cancer. Well, I can now speak with specialist Professor Carol Sikora. Carol, thank you very much for joining me. Listen, this is quite a shocking statistic. And, you know, prostate cancer is a big killer of men, and it can be sometimes a silent killer. I guess what should we take away from this?
I think it's amazing, the article today in the Telegraph about it, that F1 is more commonly known about than prostate cancer. Quite frankly, a study 25 years ago in the British Medical Journal showed that 70% of men didn't know where the prostate gland was. Everybody over 70 is listening to this. About 65% of people over 70 actually have prostate cancer, but it won't cause them any trouble. And what we have to do is identify those cancers that are going to cause trouble, like Mr. Hoy's cancer, for example, that's causing him a lot of trouble. We need to look at young people with aggressive cancers and pick those up early. And that seems a reasonable campaign.
Yes, and what should we do, Professor? Because, I mean, many people point to the government that they need to do an awareness campaign or something like that. What can be done?
I think we could introduce PSA screening for those men that want to, and it's there. If you go to your GP and say you've read about it, you'd like to do a PSA test, it's very simple. You can do other blood tests at the same time.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here, and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me next Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast.
Welcome back. Now, US President Donald Trump has warned that there will be severe consequences for Vladimir Putin if a ceasefire deal is not reached with Ukraine.
Well, here's what the president told reporters ahead of the meeting.
If the first one goes okay, we'll have a quick second one. I would like to do it almost immediately, and we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself, if they'd like to have me there. And that would be a meeting where maybe it could be absolutely work. But the first meeting will not work that out. Certain great things can be gained in the first. It's going to be a very important meeting. But it's setting the table for the second meeting. I think the second meeting, if the second meeting takes place, now there may be no second meeting, because if I feel that it's not appropriate to have it because I didn't get the answers that we have to have, then we're not going to have a second meeting.
Well, let's speak now to human rights activist who has dedicated the last 2 decades to exposing corruption at the heart of Russian politics. Bill Browder joins us now. Very good morning to you, Bill. We just heard there from President Trump saying that great things could happen tomorrow. Meanwhile, President Zelensky is saying that Putin is bluffing by coming to the table. He has no intention of stopping this war. What do you think?
I believe President Zelensky. I don't believe President Trump. Putin has shown since the beginning of this war that all of his ambitions are maximalist ambitions. He wants to take over Ukraine. He has shown no sign of compromise at any step of the way. He thinks he's winning the war. And moreover, Trump has made 5 ultimatums and let those 5 ultimatums pass. And so Putin is watching this and he's saying to himself, I'm not really scared of whatever threats Trump is throwing out there, because Trump never follows through on these things.
Well, and yet, I mean, there has been concern, hasn't there, about these secondary sanctions that have been talked about, hitting countries like India, which has been sort of almost brokering Russia's oil. I mean, the Russian economy is fragile. Something like that could do it a lot of damage, couldn't it?
Absolutely. So if Trump really wanted to use the power of the U.S. economy and the power of the U.S. sanctions, he could bring Putin to his knees in a second. And if you remember that he issued this threat, and he said, this is about 2 weeks ago, he said that he would impose these secondary sanctions on all countries that buy Russian oil. And if he had actually imposed it, then those countries would have stopped buying Russian oil and Putin would be out of business in 6 months. But he did not impose it. There are a number of countries that buy Russian oil, China being the largest, followed by India, followed by Turkey, and followed by a few others. And so far, he's imposed these sanctions on India, not on China, not on Turkey, and he let his big deadline lapse. And so if you're on the other side of this whole story and you're saying, will he do it, will he not? And you look at his performance, both on this issue and on other issues around tariffs, you say to yourself, this famous saying, taco, Trump always chickens out. And that's what Putin is saying right now. He's saying to himself, I don't believe that Trump is going to do this. Now, Putin is going to meet with Trump, and he's going to throw some stuff at him to try to convince him that he's serious about something, but not particularly serious about ending the war in Ukraine. And then the question is, Trump believed that? And everyone was worried that Trump was going to be snowed over by Putin, but I think that Zelensky and the rest of the European leaders, including Keir Starmer, got to him over the last couple of days, and that's why he's talking about this second meeting happening so quickly. But I don't hold out much hope that tomorrow is going to bring some end to the war. I don't think there's any chance of that, really.
What do you make of Zelensky being welcomed to Downing Street this morning? I mean, that's a very clear message, isn't it, from Sir Keir Starmer, that he backs Ukraine, that Ukraine is the victim in all of this.
Well, and it is. I mean, and so Trump is the original fear was that Trump was going to meet with Putin and agree that, certain part of Ukraine could be handed to Russia and this and that and so on and so forth. And by having Keir Starmer and by having Chancellor Merz and by having Macron all show that they're in Zelensky's corner, I think Trump realized that he can't just be, divvying up the map on his own volition, that there's a lot of other people involved, principally Ukraine, but also Europe in this discussion.
OK, Bill, it's really good to talk to you this morning. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Right, before we take a short break, and then we've got a lot more still to come for you, we're going to have a look at the travel and traffic update for you this morning.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The eastbound off-slip at the A720 Calder Junction is blocked by a broken down vehicle. Drivers should approach cautiously. The southbound A470 from Nantgarv to Corriton faces heavy congestion. In Durham, a broken down vehicle on the northbound A19 between the A181 and A1086 junctions has closed a lane. On the eastbound M56, between junctions 11 and 10, a stranded vehicle causes 40-minute delays with one lane closed. In Surrey, the M25 clockwise is affected by a collision, closing 2 lanes between junctions 6 and 7. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, we'll be going through the papers with Freddie Gray and Charlotte Griffiths. There they are, having a nice little chat. We'll talk to you in just a moment. That's next.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Time for the Great British Giveaway. Your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for a whole year, plus £5 in cash.
Yes, but if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you can still enter and we'll give you £15 in cash instead if you win. Here are all of the details that you need.
We want to send some of those monthly financial stresses packing this August with your chance to be mortgage or rent-free for 12 whole months. We'll give you a cash lump sum that equals 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to an amazing £20,000. We'll also throw in an extra £5,000 on top of that for good measure, because why not? And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you. We'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. What are you waiting for? Lines will close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now we're going through the papers in the company of Freddie Gray and Charlotte Griffiths. Morning, you two. Charlotte, let's start with the Princess of Wales' special summer message, shall we? It's lovely.
Yeah, it's so lovely.
This morning.
The Princess of Wales has released the second of her videos about the seasons. She relied very heavily on Mother Nature when she was recovering from cancer. So she releases these videos. This is her second one. Obviously, we're going to get some more as the year goes on. But it's such an interesting talking point because somehow when Catherine does it, and she does say some quite cheesy stuff, like when we cherish the bonds of love and friendship and rely on Mother Nature, somehow when Catherine does it, we don't find it irritating.
No.
And yet people say she's copying Meghan. But I think actually Meghan could do well to take a lesson out of Catherine's book, because I don't know how she's doing it, but she just manages to appeal to us when she sends these lovely, gooey messages. And somehow when Meghan does it, I'm afraid it falls very, very flat.
I'm afraid it doesn't appeal to me.
Doesn't it?
No, I think it's vapid platitudes.
Oh.
And, you know, you watch it and it's like watching an advert for antidepressants or something. It's just not what I think we need to hear from our royal family. We don't need to be lectured about.
Well, it's not a lecture, is it?
It's never been more important to appreciate the value of one another and of Mother Nature. Never been more important. Why never been more important?
Well,
was it not important before to value one another?
I
mean, it's just sort of rubbish. And, you know, I think the Prince of Wales is a very admirable figure and, you know, commend her on overcoming cancer, obviously had a very difficult time and so on. And I appreciate that she is very popular. But, I mean, videos like that are just crap. And we shouldn't...
Language.
It's not a rude word, is it?
I don't think we can say it on air.
Oh, sorry, OK.
Apologies if you're offended.
I'm very sorry. Well, a lot of people will be offended by me thinking that, but I do find, you know, if Meghan did it, everybody would say, what a load of utter gibberish.
Yes, they would,
and
to be fair.
I don't think we should have different standards because it happens to be someone else, particularly the Princess of Wales.
Do you think it's because she's been through so much and, you know, she's just been battling cancer? She said that nature was a really important part of her recovery and being out in nature.
Well, I mean, that's good. But I don't think, like, that's what the royal family is for, is to give us videos about how we should appreciate nature.
Oh, well,
I didn't
fair
like
enough.
it when Kitty
Oh,
Charles did
Freddie, you're such a cynic.
Such a killjoy.
Look, Freddie looks like he's having a breakdown over there over this, Charlotte. In the Daily Mail, men can't cope under pressure.
Well, this is the thing. So women like lovely videos about Mother Nature when we're under pressure, and men, according to the Daily Mail and some research in the Daily Mail, prefer to have affairs, basically.
Oh, right.
So the Mail's got a story about, when men are stressed out, what they do is they have affairs to cope with the stress.
How do they find the time?
Well, clearly they're not busy watching lovely videos about, anti-depressing videos about Mother Nature. I mean, goodness knows how they find the time, but in the article it does say it's things like parenting and the stress of kids, basically, and being too busy that makes men kind of act out and have these affairs.
Do we know at what level, how many are doing it?
I don't know. I mean, they conducted the study
many.
after COVID.
Right.
And they said it was COVID particularly saw this massive uptick in people having affairs, although I don't know
Is it just that men are more likely to cheat?
Probably.
Yes, because
Isn't that
like you,
more-
Freddie, they don't sort of look to Mother Nature and go on a long walk when they're stressed out.
Well, quite. We should
God knows what they do.
all watch videos of Princess of Wales.
Well, there you go.
There we go.
It is, but the two
It's
stories
enough
are
to cool anybody's ardour.
Yeah, quite.
classic case of men versus women, isn't it?
Yeah.
Freddie, rivals face off in the race to link our brains with AI. Tell us about this.
Well, would you guys get a chip in your brain if you could help you sort of work better and process things?
If it stopped men cheating, I put it in their brain.
You put a chip.
I wouldn't want to be the first,
That
Freddie,
might be
we'll
the
put it that
future
way.
we are about to enter. Neuralink, which is Elon Musk's company, have already done it. They cured a man who was paralysed last year. That came out. And his big rival now, Sam Altman, who's ChatGPT, OpenAI, they are competing now to develop sort of a human interaction interface in the brain. And Sam Altman says they are surprisingly close to doing it. So I think this is going to be the next phase of AI, is going to be what's sort of called transhumanism, where we sort of meld a little bit with the machines and we become partly automated, partly mechanical. It's quite a terrifying prospect.
It is. I mean, I'm not opposed to it in the sense that I think this is the way our evolution is going to go. But as I said, I still would be very. I mean, I'm normally all up for this sort of thing. It does worry me slightly.
I think. Well,
It does worry me slightly, and it worries me with the likes of Elon Musk. I mean, which is unfair, but because he's such a big name and a powerful figure, you just sort of think, well, what control, what power, what information does this give him? Which may be an unfair thing.
Well,
to say.
Charlotte and I were saying earlier, it's interesting that this rivalry between Altman and Musk, they used to work together on OpenAI, is now driving this competition forward to frightening levels. Everyone wants to be the first to do it.
Yeah, what worries me is that Altman and Elon are these big rivals, so they'll do anything to beat each other, even if it means putting chips in our brains to kind of have their own ego war. I mean,
Men again, isn't it?
It's men again.
It's men again.
The intention behind it, it just isn't. It's not an honourable intention. It's a battle between two mega egos, and that can't be a good way to start a new phase of human evolution.
OK. Right, you two, stay where you are. Still to come, the Education Secretary on the record number of university spots that have been offered to students this year as A-level results are released. But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast across Europe.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The summer heat wave continues across much of Europe, particularly inland France, Spain and Portugal, where we're likely to see temperatures in the mid to low 40s. And with these high temperatures, we are set to see plenty of sunshine, but slightly different story as we move our way eastwards across the Mediterranean. At times, this heat is likely to produce some quite heavy, if not thundery showers across parts of Italy. And that is set to continue over the weekend, and the hot temperatures are here to stay.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates.
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday Five. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Did a royally deserved rest?
Well, there have been reports this morning from a retired civil servant and royal fan who swears blind that she's spotted the Prince and Princess of Wales and their family on a £40 million super yacht while holidaying on the Greek island of Kefalonia earlier this month. So, is this an invasion of their privacy, or is it fair enough for us, the public, to know where the royal family choose to take their holidays?
Well, let's talk to the royal commentator, Jack Stooks. Jack, you're a big fan of this family. They've had a pretty tough year, haven't they? Let's be honest, with the Princess of Wales struggles with cancer. Do you think most people think, let them have a good holiday, and who cares where they are?
Yeah, I'll say good morning to you both. It's been a difficult last few years for all the family, and if they're paying to go on a holiday, I don't think it's up to any of us to know where they are. If they've been loaned a yacht or whatever it might be, if they're there with the princess's family or not, I don't think it's relevant for all of us to know. It's I've read the article, and it's a retired civil servant saying that she thinks she saw them, and then you've got other stories coming out saying were they here, were they there? But it's a little bit of a I saw the Loch Ness monster last week. So it is a bit of a ridiculous story, but the crux of it are that I do think that they should be allowed to have private holiday time like we all do. If they're on if they aren't actually there for a specific purpose, then normally the Greek islands will be told the Prince and Princess of Wales are coming, and then there's going to be certain events and certain charities that they'll be visiting.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here, and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me next Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
We're back, and we're going through the papers with Freddie Gray and Charlotte Griffiths this morning, whilst we wait for the Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, who could be with us in the next few minutes. So we'll just keep across that. But for now, let's have a look at this story, shall we, which is about Italy.
Italy.
Debt-laden Italy is now better for living than Britain.
Yeah, well, the Telegraph said that Italy's been known as an economic basket case for all these years, but actually it's doing better than the UK in terms of GDP per capita. And anyway, we were having a big debate backstage because we thought, actually, Italy's always been better for living standards. Yes, it's kind of an economic basket case, but it's got pizzas and gelato. So, whether the economy's doing well or not, who wouldn't rather live in Italy, surely?
Yeah, well, it's a fair point, Freddie, isn't it?
No, it is a fair point. Although I said, the interesting thing that's changing is the Italian economy is now doing well and performing better in some ways than Britain. Obviously, Britain is a much bigger economy, but Giorgia Meloni, the Italian Prime Minister, has done a pretty good job of turning the Italian economy around.
How? Do we know how?
I think she's taken on a lot of corruption in Italy. She is trying to tackle the migrant crisis in a sincere way, and voters are sort of getting behind her. I mean, one of the reasons Italy's been such a basket case is because the black economy was so big for so long, because the taxes are sort of out of control, and she's finding ways of tackling that, which is making Italy quite an enjoyable place to visit at the moment. Although I haven't for some time.
Oh. Well, you can get a trip booked now, Freddie.
I'm going to Corsica next week, but that's not Italy. It's near Italy.
It's near Italy. What about Venice? Fancy a bit of Venice?
Love Venice. Yeah.
Well,
you want to talk about it?
Well, yes, because Venetians are furious, apparently.
Well, it seems
because
like
they've got secret, cheaper taxis for locals.
All summer we've been talking about Venetians being furious. They were furious at the Bezos wedding. And now they're furious because some social media influencers have tipped off the big touristic public that they can get very cheap gondola rides if they use these special sort of ones that all the locals use. And so everybody's been doing that, and now the locals can't get seats on the gondolas that they normally use, and so they're very cross about that. So
I'm
thank
not
you very
surprised.
much, social media influencers.
Well, gondolas are extortionate. I remember I went to Venice, what was it, probably about 5 years ago now. It's €160 for about half an hour.
Well, I think you might have been done there, because in the report I read it was 80 is the top rate normally.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But these cheap ones are only €2.
Wow,
I
missed a trick there.
Yeah. That's
And they
literally
have-
just as a sort of taxi service.
Yes.
They have two
gondolas.
Yes.
Gondoliers.
The word. Gondoliers. Is that the word?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
How many residents
Oh, I
left
got
in
ripped
Venice?
off. I'm upset now. €180.
No, they saw you coming.
Yeah, they tend to when I'm on holiday.
We've had an influx of messages about puddings. Apparently, puddings are... And you've been looking up, actually, the proper definition of a pudding.
Yes. Well, after my... I won't repeat the word.
No.
After my definition of a pudding before, I did check online just to make sure I was right. And it's true. So a traditional pudding is steamed or boiled using dough. And a dessert pudding is more like a crumble.
So but that is a dessert pudding. I never knew all this stuff.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I always thought that dessert was a French word that got absorbed into the English language, like serviette or something like that, isn't it?
It's not the right word to use,
toilet.
much like serviette. I don't think I'm supposed to use toilet, serviette.
Well, exactly, or dessert.
Yeah.
Right.
They could be
OK,
very
you
proper.
two. We are going to leave it there because hopefully we've got the Education Secretary coming on in a few minutes. Before we speak to her, let's just have a quick break and then we'll be back with Bridget Phillipson in just a moment.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Disruptions continue southbound on the A4232 from the M4 junction 33 Capel-Lanil turn to the A48 interchange due to congestion. In Holton, a broken-down vehicle on the M56 eastbound at junction 11 is causing a lane closure, resulting in 30-minute delays. An accident on the A14 eastbound between junctions 3 and 6 has closed a lane, with delays clearing by 10:15 today. And on the trains, disruptions continue on both East Midlands Railway between Boston and Skegness and London North Western Railway between Bletchley and Bedford. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
We want to send some of those monthly financial stresses packing this August with your chance to be mortgage or rent-free for 12 whole months. We'll give you a cash lump sum that equals 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to an amazing £20,000. We'll also throw in an extra £5,000 on top of that for good measure. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's 8:56 and we're joined now by the Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson. Thank you so much for joining us on Breakfast. A-level results day today. Hundreds of thousands of students are picking up their results as we speak. How's this year's cohort done?
Yes, as you say, congratulations to all of the young people picking up their results today, A-levels, T-levels, vocational qualifications. They worked really hard, and I also want to thank the teachers and staff who supported them along the way, along with parents too. The full data will be published a bit later on this morning in terms of what we're seeing this year compared to previous years. But we've seen some of the university data that's been published, and we're seeing increases in the number of young people going on to university, which is great. But there are lots of other fantastic routes that are out there as well for our young people. Apprenticeship starts, and we're investing more, for example, in construction training, because I want to make sure that our young people have got a range of really great options that are available to them.
There is concern, there's always concern about grade inflation. I mean, I say you haven't got the full data yet, but that was meant to be tackled a couple of years ago. Are we still seeing an increase in A's and A stars?
I don't accept that grade inflation is a problem. We've got a regulator that makes sure that we maintain really high standards. So we can be confident in the results that young people are securing this year. And we make sure that there's a strong system to make sure that that is the case. I do think this is a day for celebration. We know lots of young people have worked really hard. Many of them obviously experienced serious disruption during the pandemic. They've got things back on track. They've worked hard, and lots of them will be picking up the results right at this moment.
And lots of them will be heading off to university. And there's stories in many of the papers this morning talking about concern for universities that are at risk of collapse because they're in millions of pounds worth of debt. We're hearing about this rescue plan if universities collapse. So what support is going to be in place for students who are potentially off to university, which then collapses midway through their course?
So universities are independent institutions, and they've got responsibilities about how they manage their budgets and how they make things add up. I did take the decision, we as a government took the decision early on to increase tuition fees so that universities had greater income. That hadn't happened for years. And many of the problems that we're seeing in universities have built up over many years. But the plans that are talked about are through the regulator, who works hard to make sure that universities are on a financially sustainable footing, and that in the event of any difficulties, that students will be able to complete their studies at another institution. We obviously don't want to get into that position, but we just want to make sure that universities are prepared for any eventuality, and that's why we've got a regulator that works with institutions, with universities on precisely that.
Yeah, and as you quite rightly say, we need to celebrate those students, and away from the politics of it all, they've worked hard, they've got their results, and it's the beginning of their sort of grown-up lives, if you like, so congratulations to them. Can I ask you about GDP? The figures out this morning, look, I mean, actually better than expected to an extent of 0.3%, and construction has certainly done very well. But still, I mean, it's not far off being flat. This is not where we need to be as a country, is it?
This is better than expected, as you say. It does mean that we're the fastest growing of all the major economies, which I think is something we do welcome. It is positive. But of course, there is much more that we need to do. The Chancellor has been clear about that. We'll have a budget later on this year with a real focus on productivity and growth. So encouraging signs, yes, more to do. And it's why we're taking action. Just this week, I was announcing extra investment going into construction skills, because we know that that's an area where not only can you provide a welcome boost to the economy, but you can also deliver more homes for families who desperately need them, and also great jobs and great careers in areas like bricklaying, plastering, and much more besides. And I met some brilliant apprentices this week who are really at the forefront of some of that, and there are some great options that are there, and we want to make sure that there's more for our young people.
Can I ask you about the guidance around trans and non-binary teachers? Because you said this week that teachers are able to make the request for pupils to call them mix instead of Mr. or Miss if they are non-binary. Your department, the Department for Education, the latest guidance that they published, I believe just last month, said that the idea that everyone has a gender identity should not be taught as a fact. So what is the official guidance on all of this? Because schools and teachers need clarity, don't they?
So teachers can make that request, but they can't insist that people follow it. The guidance that's being talked about applies to gender questioning children. It's something that the last government was consulting on, and the consultation on that closed after the election last year. We're looking at that carefully. This is a sensitive area. We're talking about children and young people and their well-being. And we're taking our time to get it right because we've also had the final report from Dr. Hilary Cass that set out a number of really important recommendations around in this area. And we want to make sure that any guidance reflects Dr. Cass's final review. But of course, you also alluded to the Supreme Court judgment that we had that also made clear the importance of biological sex as being the way in which we determine sex.
Okay, as you say, it's a difficult issue. Can I ask you, I mean, just to, I know you'll hate it, but to drag you back to the economy, and you talked about the budget in the autumn, and so it's going to focus on growth. I wonder how it focuses on growth. We've got all this business in the papers today about, extra sort of grabs on it with inheritance tax and things like the gifting rule, which could significantly change, as well as what we're seeing in inheritance tax on farms and on small businesses, family-run businesses, which is causing real problems for tens of thousands of ordinary people in this country and slowing down growth.
You appreciate that where it comes to any further steps or any further changes, that's something for the Chancellor. I can't speculate on that now, and anything that does happen will be set out later on, but I can't speculate. I mean, the crucial point here is that we do need to secure more growth in the economy, and that's why the action we're taking on, for example, skills training is so important. Businesses also tell us they've got big skills gaps. It holds back their ability to expand, to take on more staff, and that's something where we are taking action. And just this week, announcing more investment in construction technical excellence colleges, one in every region of the country, to really drive that forward and to give young people opportunities to get on into brilliant trades as well.
Yes, but look, I totally get your point in saying it's for the Chancellor to answer. I understand that. But is there not a sense that there needs to be a bit more sort of joined-up thinking in how government is running? Because what the Chancellor does is affecting everything else, every other department.
But what we also have seen recently, and one big area that will make sure that growth happens, is through planning reform. So we're already taking action on some of those key areas that will get our economy growing. This does take time to fully feed through. Skills is another area that I've obviously talked about this morning, where we know that can have a really big and positive contribution towards economic growth. But the decisions that were taken previously, for example, around national insurance, were necessary because I also know that lots of your viewers will want to be able to be seen more quickly at the hospital, will want to be able to see a GP. So if we're going to bring down NHS waiting lists, then we've got to make sure that we're investing in our NHS and we've got the money going into our public services to provide what people quite rightly expect, which is a timely service, not waiting months on end in pain in order to get seen and get treatment. So we have, therefore, through the decisions we've taken as a government, invested more in schools, invested more in hospitals, getting more police back on our streets. But yes, that does involve making choices about tax decisions, about spending decisions, and how that leads into really kind of positive improvements that people will see in their lives.
Bridget Phillipson, with that, we're out of time with you, but thank you very much for your company this morning on Breakfast.
We do appreciate it when government ministers come on.
We do.
Because that's
many of them don't choose to, so we appreciate it.
Still a bit of reluctance on that, but anyway.
So we appreciate the Education Secretary coming and talking to us this morning.
We do. Now, should we talk about the Prime Minister, though? Because he's expected to welcome the Ukrainian President, Volodymyr Zelensky, to Downing Street within the next hour.
Well, the meeting follows a virtual call in which European leaders urged Donald Trump not to strike a one-sided peace deal with Vladimir Putin during their meeting in Alaska tomorrow.
Christopher Hope, our political editor, is here. Christopher, morning to you.
Morning.
What I can't quite get my head around with this, I mean, the words from Trump have actually been quite positive over the last 24 hours. What I don't understand is what the Prime Minister is hoping to achieve. Is this a PR move this morning to say, don't forget Europe is behind Ukraine?
Probably won by President Zelensky, and why not? He was in Berlin yesterday with Friedrich Merz, who's a German Chancellor. He's today in London, notionally on his way home, but it's not on the way home back to Kyiv, going from Berlin to London and home again. So he's clearly there showing President Trump, look who my pals are, they got my back, will you have my back in the room? Because, yet again, the problem is that everyone's outside the room. The only people in the room are Vladimir Putin tomorrow with Donald Trump in Alaska, and that's the concern. What will they agree? Will they agree a land swap? The Donbass region, will that be handed over to Russia as part of a deal which the US will guarantee? What will Ukraine get as cover? Will they be allowed to enter NATO? That will be unacceptable to Russia. It's very, very high stakes tomorrow.
What are the Europeans hoping comes out of the meeting tomorrow? Do you think that a ceasefire is a viable possibility?
Well, they certainly hope a pause in fighting while a peace deal is agreed, but the terms of the peace deal are so important, given the scale of loss of life in Ukraine since Russia invaded. And on Russia's side, they've lost also a lot of troops. I mean, how can both sides walk back? And can we get anywhere near to where those boundaries were 4 years ago?
Well, it's interesting, though, isn't it, that President Trump last time, I mean, amid all these concerns about a deal basically being done and Zelensky told to suck it up, basically, that he seems to have written that off now and told European leaders, no, there won't be agreement on land swaps. He said he wants to organise a very quick meeting between Zelensky and Putin, if possible, which he would attend if they want him to.
Yes, I mean, which he will want to attend.
Well, of course he will. Of course he will. But it does sound like he is trying to step back a little bit, rather than just being someone who's making the decisions.
Yeah, he's got to. I mean, the language yesterday, though, in that press conference in Washington, Putin will face very severe consequences if he's not serious about peace. Question marks for the UK also, the coalition of the willing. Back in January, February time, there was the Lancaster House summit. And back then, we were told to get ready for maybe, or get ready or think about deploying UK troops to patrol some form of border in Ukraine and Russia. That's a huge question mark. That hasn't gone away yet. And how will the EU step up to guarantee a peace? Those are question marks we'll be facing in coming weeks.
Whilst we've got you, Chris, can I ask you about a different story which is in their papers today? This is on the front page of the Daily Mail today. This is the BBC being forced to edit its Today programme and apologise after a guest, Dr Krish Kandiah, branded Robert Jenrick xenophobe. Tell us a bit more about this.
Yeah, so this is an item on the BBC Radio 4 Today programme called Thought for the Day. We have our moments on our channel, which are very popular with viewers, when
our
you
daily
have
reflection,
when you have faith leaders talking, pausing the news agenda from a moment's thought, and that is great, I think. But it's not normally a political space, and it became a political space yesterday, and that was a mistake. A guy called Dr Krish Kandiah, who's the founder of a refugee charity, he said that Robert Jenrick, who's the Shadow Justice Secretary, had fueled the fear of the stranger with his challenge to the government on Sunday, on the Mail on Sunday article, saying, who are you going to look after, my daughters or the human rights of my illegally arrived migrants? And he's making a challenge to the government, which is uncomfortable for them. This guy, Dr Kandiah, he called it, the technical name was xenophobia. That kicked off with Robert Jenrick. He said that listeners were told on Radio 4 that if you're concerned about the threat of illegal migrants to your kids, you're racist. Wrong, you're being a good parent. So it goes back to that choice there. The BBC took down the Today programme and have edited out this xenophobic claim about Robert Jenrick. But it shows how I think, we're getting used to this conversation. I mean, and there's definitely two sides to it.
It's interesting. I mean, I don't know if you... some of our guests earlier were saying Thought for the Day is pre-recorded. I don't know if it is. I seem to remember it being live at some point. It can be live.
I happen to know it can be live or it can be pre-recorded. It depends.
Because if this was pre-recorded, then the BBC have got a problem, because they shouldn't have let that through.
Well, the script is normally vetted, so it can be read out live, but the script is normally sent in advance. I understand that it's normally signed off by a BBC employee, so that's obviously a problem. I understand it sits outside the normal sort of journalism of that programme. It's a separate kind of standalone 2-minute item within this 3-hour news programme.
But it's very difficult, isn't it? Because it's not actually just an attack on Robert Jenrick.
No.
In that sense, is it? Because we know from the protests, if nothing else, how many ordinary people are concerned about this situation.
As with Kemi Badenoch on Tuesday in the Isle of Wight, she was there on Monday in Epping, visiting families next door to the Bell Hotel, and they are concerned. Mothers telling her that they won't go jogging in the local park. They don't know who's hiding in the bushes, who are these young men. Are they vetted? We saw Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary, saying that he'd been threatened with a curved machete visiting a migrant site. Those migrants, of course, getting ready to come across the UK. So there are concerns about security and who's coming here. There are charges being laid against some migrants. We can't go into the details. So it is concerning. And Kemi Badenoch gets it. And I asked the government on Monday, when's the PM been down there? When is the PM knocking on the door of the mums and dads next door to these properties? And what's he saying to them? Well, they couldn't get back to me at that time.
No, well, no surprise. Chris, thank you very much indeed.
Go on. Oh, Chris, I just saw on X, it's your 2-year anniversary at GB News.
It's flown by. It's flown by. It's been great. I love it.
Feels like you've been here forever in the best way.
I love this channel and the viewers and the colleagues and the team behind that screen.
Yeah, they
marvellous.
work hard. They really do.
If it's been 2 years.
I've gone grey.
Oh, you were grey to start with. Come on. Oh, there you go.
Congratulations on 2 years. Brilliant, yeah. We'll need to
well, you need to celebrate by entering the Great British Giveaway.
Well, you can't, actually.
No, you can't. But it would be nice if you could, because you could win your mortgage or rent for a whole year, plus an extra £5 in the bank.
Yes, but if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you can still enter and we'll give you 15 grand in cash if you win. Here are all of the details that you need.
We want to send some of those monthly financial stresses packing this August with your chance to be mortgage or rent-free for 12 whole months. We'll give you a cash lump sum that equals 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to an amazing £20,000. We'll also throw in an extra £5,000 on top of that for good measure, because why not? And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you. We'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. What are you waiting for? Lines will close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now do stay with us. Still to come, students across England, Wales and Northern Ireland are opening their A-level, T-level and BTEC results as we speak.
Yeah, record number securing a spot at university apparently. We'll be rounding about the country in just a moment.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here, and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me next Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here, and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me next Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast.
Let's just show you number 10 Downing Street very briefly, should we? Because President Zelensky due to arrive imminently. The red carpet is out. There you go. So he's going to be walking down that red carpet, meeting the Prime Minister at the door for the photo opportunity, as per usual. It's interesting that President Zelensky is clearly rounding up the European support ahead of this summit tomorrow between Putin and Trump. And it will, I think, probably apply a little bit of pressure to make sure that Ukraine, or the Ukrainian leader, is not forgotten as they have this this bilateral tomorrow. But anyway, we'll bring you pictures as and when that happens.
Now, thousands of students are opening their A-level, T-level and BTEC results as we speak.
UCAS has confirmed a record number of 18-year-olds are celebrating today after getting a place at college or university.
That's right. 10,000 more students are headed to university in September compared to last year.
Well, enough from us. Let's get out and about, should we, and meet some people who are going through this. Anna Riley is at Wilberforce Sixth Form College in Hull. Morning, Anna.
Good morning to you both. Well, we're joined by Ash and Katie Lee, two very happy students this morning coming and collecting their results. Ash has done A-levels and Katie Lee has done a BTEC. Just start with you, Ash. Just tell us what you studied and how you've done.
I studied biology, chemistry and maths, and I'd say I did pretty well with 3 Bs across the whole, all of the subjects, which I'm very happy about.
Definitely, especially with maths, tough subject, and the sciences. What are you going to go on to do?
I'm going to go on to study neuroscience at the University of Leeds. So.
Very brainy, literally. And do you know what you're going to do after that?
I want to go into research around neurological conditions. It's just something that's interested me for a long time.
Well done, Ash. And Katie Lee, just tell us what you did in your BTEC and how you got on.
So I did level 3 extended diploma in public services. So it's like about all the forces and all the different uniformed services that are out there. And I did really well on that, and I'm really happy with my results. So.
Tell us what you got.
I got a distinction, star, distinction, star, distinction. So yeah, I'm really pleased.
Congratulations, that is fantastic. And what made you want to do this BTEC rather than going into the A-level route?
So I think I crumble under exam pressure. So I think the BTEC really helped me with that because it's theory and practical based, and a lot of it was sport based as well, and I really enjoy sports, so definitely.
What are you going to go on to do next?
I want to join the fire service, so I'm just training at the minute to join hopefully in September when they reopen applications again.
Fantastic, thank you both so much. So 2 very noble causes here, looking into brain research here and neurosciences and the fire service as well. So congratulations to Ash and Katie Lee, very happy students here at Wilberforce Sixth Form College in Hull.
Thanks, Anna, and congratulations, ladies. Brilliant stuff. Let's go from Hull to Lichfield, shall we? And Jack Carson, our national reporter, is there. Morning, Jack.
Morning to you both. Well, I've got a couple of students here, Abbas and Henry, who are going to join us and open their results for us now. Should we get the envelopes open? Let's not wait. Let's get the envelopes open and see what we have got. It's always the nerve-wracking thing. I remember everyone. I think when I opened mine, I went off to a corner just to see what I got before I started talking to my friends. Right, should we go to you, Abbas, first? What have we managed to do?
So I got a C in business, a D in music tech, and a D in economics.
And Henry?
I've got 3 C's across economics, geography, and business, and then a B in the extended project qualification.
So what are you off to do next, Abbas? What does this manage to do and get you into to go to next?
This gets me into Bangor University for business management, so I am very pleased with that.
Fantastic. And Henry, what about you?
I've applied for clearing to Southampton University and I've been accepted.
So what is clearing like? Because there's a lot of students who'll be doing the same this morning. What's that been like for you as a process? Because you didn't get necessarily the university you'd chosen as your first choice, but you've gone through clearing, you've got to Southampton, You're happy with that. What's that process been like this morning?
It's to be honest, it was a lot quicker than I was expecting. I was expecting it to take a few hours, but I just rang them up as soon as I got my results because my father and I, we'd already checked which universities would accept certain grades, so it was fairly streamlined, to be honest, and it didn't take too long. I think it was better than I was actually expecting.
And how are you feeling now that you know the wait is over? That must have been quite nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now? You know, knowing as well, both of you have got where you are happy with where you wanted to go, got where you wanted to go. How are you feeling this morning, Abbas?
Quite happy. I mean, it was nerve-wracking on the drive here, don't get me wrong, but getting here now, opening them, I'm quite glad I got in. It's the uni I wanted originally, and yeah, it's next chapter of my life.
And how about you, Henry? Because I imagine the last couple of years, you know, have been difficult. They always are. You know, it's stressful to have to use up so much of your free time as well as your school time to be able to get the grades that you've got today.
It's to be honest, it's quite relieving, and it's just like I don't have to worry anymore about it because I know where the next part of my life is going. So I'd say it's relieving, but at the same time, I did enjoy the years that I had here at school because I met some great people and frankly had a really good time.
Yeah, and I suppose, you know, it's that next step in life. You know, what is the dream for you? What would you like to go on and do, you know, with your degree, after your degree?
Honestly, after my degree, it'd probably, off to Wall Street, that would be the big ambition, hopefully. Be a Wall Street trader, that would be amazing. I know, as a kid, watching Wolf of Wall Street, it was a good movie, always been
a little bit too young to watch that?
A bit too.
Only a bit, but it's fine. But it's kind of always been the dream, be a Wall Street trader, so hopefully that's my next accomplishment.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning and opening their results. And it takes a lot of nerves to do that, so thank you guys for doing that. A lot of happy faces and smiles here in Lichfield.
Lovely, Jack. Thanks very much indeed. Well done to those two. Going where they want to go, that's what matters.
Brilliant. Just saw a tweet right on cue, actually, from Jeremy Clarkson saying, if your A-level results are disappointing, don't worry. I got a C and 2 U's, and here I am installing lights for a helicopter landing pad in my garden. So there you go.
There you are.
Fair dues.
Worth remembering.
I could actually set my clock by him putting that out every single year.
Yeah, well, good on him,
puts
though.
that
Good
out,
on him.
to be fair.
As you
Good
can
message,
see,
though.
Dawn Neeson, Andrew Pearce, both here for Britain's newsroom, and of course waiting the arrival of Zelensky.
Yes.
Number 10.
Yeah, we're going to go live to that as soon as we get the pictures of the two shaking hands on that red carpet outside. Number 10, you're very excited about that, aren't you, Andrew?
Really excited.
Very excited. You can tell. We're also covering the serious
We are a bit
subjects.
player in this whole Alaska summit. Britain, we're a bit player.
OK, we're also doing spotted dick versus sticky toffee pudding.
What is
Sticky
your
toffee
favourite pudding?
always.
We know all about it.
Yeah.
Let's have some weather.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office.
Any early showers across the southeast soon easing away, but some thundery downpours expected across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. But for all, it is set to be another warm day ahead. Now, a Met Office yellow thunderstorm warning has been issued across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern parts of England. We could see some quite heavy downpours here, some thundery downpours with some frequent lightning and also some hail. So do keep an eye out on the forecast for here. But elsewhere, we'll start to see some cloudier skies across Wales, central parts of England, the best of the sunshine across the southeast, where we'll reach highs of around 29 degrees Celsius. Into the evening, some of these heavy thundery showers could persist for a while, particularly across the far northeast of Scotland as they move their way into the Northern Isles, starting to turn quite cloudy too, particularly around coastal areas. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, still a chance we could see some thundery showers here. They won't really ease away until through the course of the night. But elsewhere across England and Wales, it should be a mostly dry and pleasant end to the day, particularly across the south, where we'll see mostly clear skies. It is set to be another quite mild and muggy night though, particularly once again across southern areas. Many towns and cities not really dropping much past the mid to high teens. And something else we'll notice as we head further into the morning is that we're starting to drag in some low cloud across the north, starting to move into parts of Scotland, northern parts of England. A chance we could see some mist and fog across central areas. So it may be a little bit of a murky start and mild start to the day too. Then into Friday to finish off the week. Once again, some low cloud, eventually lifting and breaking, but it may linger for a time, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, northeastern parts of England, where it may just be thick enough to produce some showers. But in the west, central areas of England and parts of the southeast, plenty of sunshine and temperatures up by a degree or two once again, highs reaching around 31, but much cooler under cloudier skies.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A4232 southbound from junction 33 to the A48 interchange is congested. Lane closures on the M6 southbound exit slip at Cawley services due to a vehicle fire will resolve by 11:07. Northamptonshire has hour-long delays on the A14 eastbound between junctions 2 and 6. Essex's M25 anti-clockwise has a lane closed between junctions 27 and 26 due to a collision causing delays. Hampshire's M27 westbound faces 15-minute delays. And on the trains, buses replace trains on East Midlands Railway between Boston and Skegness. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Have you seen the president yet?
Morning, guys. No, not yet. We're just in the press room behind the scenes. I've got my Trump-Turnberry coffee cup, though, just to prove to you that I really am here. We're waiting here basically until we get the nod to run out, hopefully to see Donald Trump and Keir Starmer together. These occasions, I'm realising, are a little bit sort of hurry up and wait. We think that the Prime Minister and the President might be meeting outdoors today. Yesterday, you might have seen Trump with Ursula von der Leyen in the amazing ballroom, in the grand ballroom here at Turnberry. Well, the weather is surprisingly nice for Scotland. The sun is out, it isn't raining. So there's a chance that we will get to talk to these two world leaders, but we won't be in the ballroom. We'll be outside, I think, on the golf course. We're just waiting to hear.
And what's the atmosphere like, Bev? Is there a lot of excitement?
I think amongst the press, they're all fairly used to this sort of thing. I mean, I still feel a little bit like a competition winner because I came on Air Force One and I'm still really excited about the whole ordeal. But I think a lot of people here have done this sort of thing before. You know, we've had an influx this morning of the British press. So I'm with the international call who came over on Air Force One. There are about 13 of us. But the British press are here as well today. They're all obviously keen to get their own questions into Starmer. It will be that setting where, you know, we just all go for it if we can and throw a question out in that direction. I got lucky on Friday when we were on the runway at Prestwick Airport, Glasgow Prestwick Airport, when we landed on Air Force One, and I asked him about immigration, and of course he gave us that line about the fact that Europe has to get its act together.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Go on, go for it.
Good morning, it's 9:30 on Thursday the 14th of August, live across the UK, Britain's newsroom with Andrew Pearce. This is
Anton Neeson, or Bev, if you want to call me Bev, that's fine, I don't mind, whatever. OK, don't look at me like that already. The BBC is in hot water again, yes, indeed.
These words echo a fear many have absorbed, fear of the stranger. The technical name for this is xenophobia.
Yeah, the broadcaster pulls a segment on the Today programme after a guest calls Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick xenophobic over his stance on illegal immigration.
And all eyes are on Downing Street as any moment now Sir Keir Starmer will be greeting the President of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky. This is, of course, before the big summit tomorrow between Putin and Donald Trump.
Yes, in Alaska. And A-level results day. Thousands of students in England, Wales and Northern Ireland are opening their A and T-level results this morning. Good luck, everybody out there.
Well, here in Lichfield, they've had a 100% pass rate, a lot of happy faces, a lot of smiles and a lot of tears from mums and dads as well as students have been getting their results. We'll bring you some of their reaction.
And holiday inferno, at least 3 people have died and thousands have fled tourist hotspots in Greece while wildfires are raging across southern Europe.